Yes.
சீக்கிரம் கிளம்பணுன்ட்டார். இல்ல சார் இல்லைன்னா நீங்க யூ ஸ்டார்ட் பிரசன்டிங் இல்லை as soon as வந்தோம்னா நீங்க This site has been microlithic, megalithic, artifacts belong to the historic periods. The excavation was conducted in Nayak, Ajay and Alkitha located at the mounds, archaeological mounds. As you know that the southern part of Tamil Nadu is full of microns, especially in various sites. This is really already the Sridharan, one of the sites in the Sridharan district, already excavated by the state department, and now the web protected. On the back of the river Viper, there is also now being excavation being conducted by the department. The Antiquity village carried to microlithic area. The microlithic tools and dragons were discovered on the banks of the river near the excavation site. Microliths also collected from in and around during the excavation at Vedadalam is also in our group. We have excavated the area. Manathereri, actually it's a site. Armankulam, Chankulam, Arasasalam, and Manmalai. And also there is Cholar, microlithic tools, coins of Electrolas, Mayas, and Saladin Chinese coins and all. Because the microliths is found in the stratified layer below the megalithic cultural phase. This is important. The excavations showed a clear stratigraphy for the microlithic cultural phase. It can be assumed after the microlithic phase, the area was not occupied for some time, and later the megalithic people occupied this area. This is the location of Mangudi village on the bank of the river Viper. Devi Adu. Actually, we can go from Rajapalayam, about 10 kilometers from Rajapalayam. This is the place. Puttur, Devadhanam, Rajapalayam, Punalveli, Sodapuram, and all the sites have yielded microliths and megalithic potteries of blackened work and other kind of potteries. They have broken the excavation. It can be assumed that after the microlithic phase, the area was not occupied for some time. Later, the megalithic people occupied this area. A broken piece of Neolithic shelf was also found in the excavation. Period 2 represented by the early historical culture of Sangam age, blackened ware, black ware, red slipped ware were prominent varieties found here. A good number of graffiti marks, especially on blackened ware of shirts, were found. About 200 shirts with graffiti were collected from Mangudi excavation. In Antiquity of the village. the Sangam literature, Madurai Kanji. Actually, it's the details are given by the Madurai area in Madurai Kanji, Kurundagai, refer the existence of the ancient settlement. Sangam poet Mangudi Mardanar was obviously a native of Mangudi. He was a highly educated poet about India King Nadinjadian. Hence, the village Mangudi was an important settlement of Sangam age. This is the memorial pillar erected in memory of Mangudi Mardanar in the village. An important trade center which connected the ancient trade routes of Chera and Pandya countries. Roman coins found at Karivalam on the Nallur near Mangudi. Politically, Mangudi was a part of Pandya kingdom from the Sangam period. Potsherds and tiles of medieval period. So the continuous history, the medieval period also we collected some tiles, grooved tiles and potsherds, and the inscription dated 11th century AC are also noted in this area. The area was controlled by Nayakas of Madurai and Pandya of Tenkasi and Sivagasi Polygas also. These the trenches. 10 trenches were laid in the mound and 3 trail trenches were laid in the slopes of the mine. The excavation conducted in the year 2002. This because at the time of excavation, Shanti Babu, Dr. Kaviya Raman, Dr. V. Subbarayalu, all scholars are visited and gave ideas about the site and excavation. This is the excavation. The Kutralam hills are on the backside. First layer is the stratigraphy of the site. Humus. First layer humus. Yielded potsherds of blackened ware, russet coated ware, red slipped ware, inscribed potsherd. It is important. It is important, and denotes a single cultural phase. Single cultural phase also. This is the inscribed potsherd. Kuru Mangala Adan Iyani Pe. The 14 letters found in the blackened potsherd. It is dated to because it is in the potsherds written like the particular inscription, so it is dated to 200 BC. And also ring bell and a pot with a boat symbol also found there. Dr. K.V. Raman visited the site and gave the idea of the excavations going on here. And our friends, colleagues are all standing there and watching the antiquities. This is the boat symbol. Right? This is the boat. Here also the graffiti is there. This is the two boat symbols found in the Arakakulam excavation. It is in the rouleted ware. This is already a red ware shirt. This is the stratigraphy, layer on compacted clay and yellow in color without any artifacts. This we found all the antiquities from this layer. This is a sterile layer, compacted clay and yellow in color, and microliths is found in this layer, in the lower level. You can see clearly. In the pit, we found that inscribed potsherds. Five inscribed potsherds are collected from this excavation. Graffiti, about 200 shards of the graffiti are collected. Markings were made on the exterior after firing, mostly on the shoulder portion. Some jars, cups, plates are found at the bottom also, classified in a single and multiple graffiti. Graffiti marks are mostly common with the findings of the excavations. In Tamil Nadu, most of the sites yielded graffiti marks. This is the graffiti. Some, because it has similar graffiti also found in Keeladi and Karur and other places, Kodumanal, like that. We have to classify the graffiti marks and we have to study them. The symbol. These are microarchaeology tools collected from that area during excavation. They are part of a Neolithic cell. This perforated ware is a very interesting. Here you can see that fish symbol. The circle. Similar part they are found in Keeladi also. In coins also we found the same symbol. Pandya symbol, royal emblem of the Pandya kings. In the bottom portion we find the graffiti here. This is also black and red ware. Russet coated ware, but the russet coated ware is very less here in this excavation. This is a painted ware, painted potsherds also found. Here in Keeladi also we found that painted potteries. The Antiquity, the arrowhead and the beads, glass beads and paste beads, terracotta beads. This is the important one. Archaeobotanical study. Early Tamil Sangam literature includes this area in Mullaithinai category. Forested pastoral tracts, followed agriculture and animal husbandry. The inhabitants such as pastoralites cultivated millets called varaku and samai. Archaeological study was conducted in this site during 2002. Soil samples 2000. Finished. Soil samples collected from the excavation site at Mangudi under the leadership of Dr. K. Rajan. Mr. Kumar came here and studied the pollen grains. By this way, they are all collecting the pollen samples. 19 flotation samples are collected here, although charcoal's densities were generally low. At Mangudi, seeds are not prolific. Cotton appears in the highest frequency. Rice and some fragments of pulse were obtained. Also, fruit crops and fodder crops for cattle were found and show that the Mullaithinai inhabitants may be focused on pastoral production than cultivation. Thus, excavation conducted in this Sangam age settlement of Mangudi village has played an important role in the history of Tamil Nadu. But further excavation will throw more light on this antiquity of that area, because so many sites are in and around Mangudi and there are natural caverns also there. So we have to go there and we have to study further. And some of the inscriptions also found in the check dam. Here, a mutilated temple of 12th century temple, Pandya temple was there, and it was developed. Here these are mutilated sculptures are there. This is the Sastisri Yuvagam Pannirandu Padayan Udinama. This is the 12th division because it is the trade for the protection for the trade people. So the inscription also found there because in the Mangudi is in the center, the trade gate. So the protected army was also there in that village. So he is the person who visited that site and he had the ideas about conservation. Very good. Thank you very much for patient hearing.
So we can take one or two questions. Any question from the audience? Okay, I think they are tired after the lunch. So I will make my presentation now. Somebody can keep time for me. Okay, the title is not here fully visible. You can see the brochure, and also I have written the complete paper. You can read it. So the title of my paper is The Models of Cultural Developments of Tolkappiyar, who composed Tolkappiyam, and C.J. Thompson, who developed this three-age system. What I am trying to argue is that while this three-age system of Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, though it is outdated, it still guides our research problem. Consciously or unconsciously, we have incorporated this. This is what I call as long durée, wherein we try to bring in long time into a sequence. But whereas if you look at the Thinai concept of Tolkappiyar explained in the Tolkappiyam, that gives us a very vivid narrative of life during the Sangam age. Say, whatever the debates may be related to the chronology, we can definitely say it presents the scenario around the early centuries of the Common Era. So I am trying to use C.J. Thompson for linear kind of development in temporal, and Tolkappiyam's Thinai as spatial manifestation of cultural complexity. So I think together they explain the cultural complexity and development better. So also the idea of linearity and multilinearity, they are also discussed. And as Dr. Shantipapu already pointed out, we need to relook at the terminologies. There is a need for going beyond the Eurocentrism, and also we need to have some kind of decolonization in our perspective. This is not to say that we should be very hypercritical. I think we should have a kind of decolonization or deconstruction from a balanced perspective. So this is what is the summary of my paper. So I'll try to highlight the points within the 10 or 12 minutes I have. So you must have studied about Hesiod. This has been often cited in many of the Western literature and also in Indian literature about archaeological method. The Greek poet, he classified times into age of gold, silver, bronze, and heroes and iron. And then we have Roman poet Ovid talking about ages of, they also had this linear notion of linear progress of culture. Then we have the Greek poet Lucretius, the Roman poet of the 1st century BC talking about these different tools, how people were using initially hands, nails, teeth, and then started using stone and pieces of wood and flames and fire, and bronze and iron came later. And also we have these ideas in all cultures across the world. Then we have also some beautiful Chinese references where this Yuju Shu of 1st century CE, they also have a classification of time. They talk about age of jade. Now coming to this Tolkappiyar's classification, there are debates about the chronology of Tolkappiyar. Some people say 800 BCE. In archaeology, normally we take the date of 5th century CE. This is one date accepted by many of the scholars. Forget this chronology, definitely it is a pre-medieval text or even pre-1000 CE, definitely. So, but when you look at this Tolkappiyam, when you look at the Sangam literature, it gives a vivid narration in various landscape. See how this Kurinji is the hilly terrain, Mullai is the forested terrain, Sridharan sir just mentioned, Maridam, the agrarian tract, Neidal, the pastoral, and the Palai, the dry land. So this is all the details how Tolkappiyam talks about Mudarpurul, Urupurul, Karipurul, Karupurul, all that, and several scholars have extensively worked on these poems. I will not go into the landscape of Thinai. Thinai is actually a eco-cultural concept, we can say eco-poetic concept, but there are also problems in this construct. It was a construct of Thinai landscape created for poetic purpose. But we need to look at these early poets as anthropologists, as journalists, or as a research, people who visited the landscape constructed. So it is partly, created and partly based on reality. So coming to this early Tamil text, we also have Tolkappiyam classifying this, organism into single sense, two sense, 3 cents and 4 cents and 5, 6 cents. All that is very important. Again, I'm not going into Buddhist and Jain philosophy. They also have a lot of valuable ideas for reconstructing the way how our people perceive the culture and its development. This is where I try to argue, as Padeya has already highlighted, several people, S.C. Maulik and D.K. Chakrabarti, they have highlighted this need for indigenous epistemology, looking at it. So at one point of time we were talking that Indians did not have sense of history, but when we look into these, again Herodotus texts, we have changed our perspective, especially the publication, The Past Before Us by Ramila Thapar. It talks about indigenous ways of looking at the historical narrative or the narratives about the past. Again, we have Prasasti and Mekirti tradition, where in the influence of modernism, Nilakanta Sastri considered Mekirti as Poikirti, but we need to re-look at these kind of writings. Again, in Manika Vasagar, we find another beautiful narration, Pullahi, Pudai, Puduvai, Maramai, Palvirkamai, Paravayai, Pambai, Allai, Manidarai. Kallai, Manidarai, there are discussions. Some scholars say it is Kalla Manidar. There is a problem in the writing of the text, probably miscopy in the palm leaf manuscript. This is another beautiful classification. See, coming to this Western text, we have a lot of these classification observation by Michael McCarthy, C.J. Thompson's, this 3H system, which was published in 1836. He wrote a book, A Guide to Northern Archaeology. That was very important contribution, wherein he basically took the ideas from early researchers and he formulated this kind of sequence. Later on, Urzai proved this by undertaking excavation. Coming to this anthropology, also simultaneously Louis Henry Morgan, he talks about 3 stages: savagery, barbarism, civilization. Then we have classification by Elman Surveys, tribe, band, tribe, chiefdom and state, and Morton Fried. Also he modified that sequence. So we have all these ideas floating, and several scholars, especially Shanti Prabhu, Sheila Mishra, and Parth Chauhan, they have already discussed this issue of changing the terminologies in Indian archaeology. So what this Thinai concept can do here is actually it can guide us to comprehend the multilinearity of culture. So this has been already attested, proved by archaeologists like M.L.K. Murthy. He noticed the continuance of these hunter-gatherers into the Iron Age. V.N. Mishra has found evidence for hunter-gatherers contemporary to the Harappan civilization in Bago. So we have a number of cases from central India where we can really understand that culture did not progress in a linear way. The developments were complex. But what we are doing, we take a polished stone axe and say it is Neolithic. We take a microlith and say it is Mesolithic. Then we take a rock painting, say if the rock painting depicts hunting gathering scene, it is prehistoric. If a rock painting depicts animal domestication, it is Neolithic. If there is iron objects, into Iron Age. This is where what I am saying is that we are unconsciously incorporating this particular linear idea. Again, when we talk about Neolithic, we have Deccan Chalcolithic, which is also an early agropastoral community, and then we have Neolithic sites. We do not know the internal dimension and complexity of these societies. You look at these early Sangam poems related to Mullai Thinai, it clearly makes a distinction between past sheep-goat pastoralists. On the other hand, it also talks about cattle pastoralists. There are sheep-goat pastoralist communities in Maharashtra and also in Andhra, Karnataka, Golas and Gurubas. So we need to when we look at this text very carefully, we are able to understand the complexity associated with the dynamics. In archaeology, in ethnoarchaeology, we try to correlate between statics and dynamics, whether it is behavioral archaeology or anything, experimental archaeology. We are trying to build some kind of middle range theory. This is where Tolkappiyam very beautifully narrates how there were hunter-gatherers who were also doing shifting cultivation in the Kurunji landscape. Simultaneously, we have Neolithic agropastoral communities. Then we have hunter-gatherers continuing in the historical period. We know the story of Kannapar and number of other dynamics. Same way, we have these hunters and fishers, gatherers in the coastal area. I didn't show the slide. We have excavated site of Molapalayam. We have found evidence for am I up? Okay, 2 minutes. I'll just finish. Where we have found evidence for coastal interaction. So in 1600 to 1200 BCE. So what this Thinai landscape concept tells us is that we had band societies, hunter-gatherers in the Kurunji landscape, early historic period. We have hunter-gatherers who are practicing shifting cultivation. We have agro-pastoral communities. We have agricultural communities. Again, we should not blindly think these categories of Tolkappiyas were watertight compartments. They were, the landscape was fluid. They were all mixing. All these 5 landscapes were mixing. So what I am trying to highlight through this is the last slide, is that complexity of cultural development, where we were guided by this linearity of C.J. Thompson. It is high time that we look at the other texts, indigenous thinkings and other material that are available across the world to understand complexity of cultural development. And again, we don't think about, continuous survival of microlithic communities along with the Neolithic. When we talk about Neolithic, we forget everything. We always think of Neolithic. We are the same with the Harappan. Harappan definition, Harappan civilization is also a construct where we know that there are so many cultures. So recently there is a paper, I will stop this with this reference, Cameron, Petrie and Parekh, they have written a paper to call Indus Valley civilization as a rural civilization. They cite Gandhiji in his book. So this notion of civilization is a product of colonialism that has really misguided. So we should treat Indus Valley civilization as a kind of rural civilization. The cultural developments were complex. It is high time we look into our own literature. Again, the archaeological syllabus that is constructed by Western notions of thinking, it dealings everything. We try to look at hardcore archaeology as a methodology. This is where I try to argue in my lectures that we need to go beyond. We should try to look the study of the past as archaeo-anthropo-history, where we try to, archaeologists do that, experimental archaeology, ethno-archaeology and all. I think this is where we need a new kind of decolonization. With this point, I think I am up 3:50. Thank you for the opportunity. You can read the paper. Again, after finishing the paper, I found more references. I found similar papers, scholars arguing from Indonesia, in other parts of the world and also Africa, looking for an outside European perspectives, Anglo-American world perspective. I think this is very important. Thank you. If there is one question I can answer, or you can always read the paper and email me if you have. Thank you.
There is one question.
Yes.
So when we talk about Indian literature, so we profoundly take it as a mythical findings, we take it as a myth more. So how do you take it as a guide when we have already taken?
No, what I am saying is, I have mentioned in my paper, we should not think that Indians were talking about rockets and as some people do, or they were talking about biological evolution. Simply, we trace the ideas, how people conceive. So we are simply, I think I would hesitate to use the word science. Science as a term is problematic. Again, the way we use civilization and tribe, these words or terms are very problematic. One thing we should understand, we are the one who construct culture. Harappan people never thought, they never considered themselves as Harappans or Indus Valley people. We constructed that. Same way, lower, middle, upper, whatever it is, our own construct. So these kind of ideas makes us to think, to be conscious and to understand the complexity involved in cultural development. So literature can give an idea that how these people were conceiving, how these people were developing. You should not blindly take Thinai and say that is true. No. Thinai itself, for example, the concept of Indra, who is, for each presiding deity, they make certain Aryan concepts as a presiding deity, but that we should not take into consideration. So they were trying to create a poetic kind of formula for people who could not go to the landscape, across the landscape. So they were giving some kind of encyclopedia in the Sangam Academy for people to compose poems. Suppose somebody could do simply by sitting and reading this Tolkappiyar and Tolkappiyam can compose a poem related to Thinai. This poet might not have gone there, like many of our students who do not go to field, but they are basically textbook based. So we should carefully look at the Tolkappiyam text. So we should not take these early texts and try to argue we had everything. What I am trying to argue is that you look critically for the ideas, how they conceive, how they understand past. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I invite our joint director to honor the dignitaries of this session. Dr. Sridharan, sir. Next, we are moving to the next section. Dr. Amarnath Ramakrishna will be leading the session. We are having 4 papers in the session.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to congratulate State Archaeology Department, Government of Tamil Nadu for organizing a national seminar on archaeological preservation. The second session has been started now. In this session, 4 persons will be present their papers. First paper will be presented by Dr. Nambirajan, our former joint representative. He will present on significant observations on the excavations at Adichanadu 2003 and 5. He will deliver first lecture. Second paper will be delivered by Dr. Santanu Vidya, cultural development of Vidarbha from early Iron Age to early historic period as seen in ceramic sequence. a case study. Besides, he will present another paper on behalf of Professor Mangudi, excavations and relocations and reconstruction of the megalithic burial from the Maharijigar campus Bhopal. Third paper will be presented by Professor Dr. Rajavelu, Manthripattinam Excavations, and fourth paper I will present myself as a Keeladi one. So I request Dr. Namiranji will come and present his first paper. Thank you.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். I'm thankful to the Department of Archaeology, Government of Tamil Nadu for inviting me to make a presentation in this August occasion of Kalaignar Mural. I'm thankful to Dr. Sivanantham and his team. I will be presenting on Archaeological excavations. It was excavated after 100 years after the excavation or the study of the region by Alexandria. It was done by the Chennai Circle of the ASI under the direction of Satyamurthy sir, and he was the superintending archaeologist of the circle. Due to the time constraints, I will be rushing through and I will be concentrating on a couple of points which have not been highlighted so far. I will not be going into the trenches, excavations, layers, etc. because they all have already been in the public domain. Many articles have been published. Excavation report has been submitted. And so we are all aware of what happened in Adichanallur and what are the findings. But there are significant observations which I would like to highlight. Even of that, I will highlight only a couple of points because of the time constraints. These are all about geology, environment, soil. I will not be going into this. So the thing is, the entire region, not only Adichanallur, the entire Nagarkovil, Kanyakumari, the Thiruvannamalai, Thuthukudi area is dotted with so many urn burial sites. Iron is available there locally, and the river name indicates Tamilnadu, so copper must have been available there. But there is absence of numerous copper objects from the site or in that region. In Tamil Nadu as a whole, the Chalcolithic phase is somewhat absent or it is very, very negligible because very few objects of copper have been found in the excavations. Now, I am just putting a point here that there are some findings which indicate a presence of Chalcolithic phase in Tamil Nadu. I will give you sort of evidences for that because so far only very few sites like Appugallu we have found copper objects. Again, Adichanallur, not only the urn burial site, there is also appears to be occupied right from Neolithic phase at least, because in Sridharan adjacent to Adichanallur, a stray Neolithic site has been found. So we need more evidences to establish a Neolithic phase here, but there is some clue about that.
Okay, 20 minutes. 10.
10 minutes up? 15. These are the other sites. I will just go through Kakanallur, Ayanargulam, Vavelkulam, Ilandekulam, etc., where you have found urn burials in and around Adichanallur. This is the site. It looked like when Alexandria was excavating, and this is a satellite picture. And these are some of the early publications by, the first was studied by Yagor, and then Thornton, Lapik, all have mostly studied the anthropological remains are published. This is an undated picture, they're black and white. Probably this is what the site looked like when Alexandria was examining the site. He says he excavated at the highest point of the mound and at the center of the site. There is a sort of disturbance at the point of the wording if we follow the center of the site and the the highest point. There is some disturbances as you can in the photographs. Probably this is the area where Alexandria is excavated. This is the purpose, the documentation of the site, to collect samples for dating of the site, and if possible try and identify habitation site. Now these are the significant aspects. I'll come to the point now. I'll avoid the first point. I'll go straight into the second because of the time constraint straight away. We have got few miniature pots and one urn recalling the pottery from Malwa and Jodh. Now, Malwa was excavated early 50s in the Malwa region actually, covering central India and part of Maharashtra. There was a culture, particular type of pottery represented by a vase with a globular body and a narrow neck. Now, the similar pottery, the similar culture has been found in Navtadoli, Bahal, Daimabad in Maharashtra, Iran, Nagda, Kayata and other sites in Madhya Pradesh. Now, this pottery is low wheel turned, medium fabric and red slipped. So the slip turns into yellow, pink, orange, etc. and it is dated to 1700 to 1400 BC. It transforms into a Jorve culture as we have such evidence in Daimabad. Now, Jorve, it evolves from Malwa and it was excavated by Ajay Sankalaya in the 1950s. It's a type site in Maharashtra and it is fast wheel turned. It's also red slip there and it is painted in black and it has a metallic sound when tapped. It's more of pottery represented by lotus. Now, this I'll show you the photographs later. So you remember this point, there is pottery recalling Malwa and Jorve. Then another finding from the additional look is the white painted black and red ware. Now this white painted black and red ware was first found in Ahar in Rajasthan by R.C. Agarwal. The site was excavated in 1961-62. 1A phase was dated to 1900 to 1700. And 1C was also where you get the white painted black and red ware, but the late date was 1300 BC. So for Ahar, white painted black and red ware is 1900 to 1300 BC. That's it. This is the earliest date for white painted black and red ware. Now, what are the other sites? There are many other sites where black and red ware, white painted has been found. Now these are some of the pictures which are all. This was mentioned by Satyamurthy sir in the morning where the same pit has been used multiple times. This is some of the pictures as you can see on the right side. There are two urns in one pit. That means the earlier one was at the bottom. The upper one is of later period, but those who came later, they know exactly where at what depth the earlier urn is there because they are not damaged. So they exactly know at what depth the earlier urn is there. This is a double lid urn. This we are removing the skeletons. I'll straight go to the Jorve pottery now. This is some of the skeletons inside. So they have put the heavy assemblage along with the along with the skeleton. So as the time passes, the flesh and the blood and the bone, they crumble. The assemblage falls on the skeleton, crushing it. This is a twin burial. See, this shows how the skeleton was kept in a crouched position because the skull has fallen on the knee. This is a child burial. You can see the two copper bangles. These are various types and sizes and shapes of urns. I call this in a lighter vein dinosaurs' eggs. This one is a black and red ware urn. It's again a rare feature. These are different shapes of urns. The one at the right is I was talking about the Malwa Jorve pottery. So this one somewhat recalls Malwa Jorve pottery. These are the thumb designs, nail marks on the urn. This is various types of lids, black and red. These are graffiti marks. This you find Mr. Sridharan was showing this just now from Mangudi, perforated, but it's perforated at the bottom. In Harappa you find the perforations on the body of the pottery. This will come later. Now this is one on the left is the urn, and the one on the right, black and red ware, is a miniature pot. And at the bottom the drawing shows the pottery from the Jordi. So you can clearly see yourself the resemblance. Now there are the other sites where you get the white painted black and red ware. Agar, which was found first, and Hallur, excavated by Nagaraj Rao in 1965. In phase 1, it's a Neolithic phase where you get the pale grey ware also, along with copper axis and polished axis. And in phase 2, you are getting white painted black and red ware, akin to Jorve ware. This is what the study was done by A. Sundara. He has done a lot of research on white painted black and red ware. He has mentioned that white painted black and red ware is found from Maski, also resembles partly from Jorve ware. Now here the date is 1800 to 2100 BC. Next is Maski. Maski again, the Chalcolithic phase is 1000 to 400 BC, where you get various types of burials and burials, big circles, without cane packing, and many. So here also white painted black and red ware has been found. Now we are moving from north towards Archaeology. Next is Purani Marmi, excavated by, or rather section scrapping done by Joglekar, the senior, where you get the black and red ware, white painted. Now this is again dated 2400 BC. And next site is Ojjiana in Rajasthan. It has got black and red white painted. And Chinchili in Madhya Pradesh, it is dated 2800 or so. So these are the sites in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, where you have the white painted black and red ware. Now closer to the additional route is the Keeladi, where in phase 2, megalithic, where you get similar parts. Now the designs are vertical, dotted lines, curved lines, concentric circles, oblique lines. So the theory has been put forward by Sundara that white painted black and red ware travelled from Ahar through Maharashtra, Karnataka. Again, we have we can trace the route, Keeladi and then further south. Ahar is the earliest date, that's why he put forth the theory that it was 1900 to 2000 BC, so it started there and traveled down south. Now, if we can establish the date of Adichanallu prior to 2000 BC, now because Satyamurthy sir was talking about that date, TL dating and C14 dating. Now, whatever date we are getting is approximately, say, comes to 1500, 1800 BC to 700 BC. So still we are, if we get some more samples, we can date them. If we can push it, like TL dating and all, we have 3670 BP. But the thing is plus or minus 570. Another date is 5750, but BP, but plus or minus 1200. So if the margin is too long, it's 1200 plus or minus. So that is creating a problem. So if we get more evidences, because the recent excavation, let us see now in 2020-21 also ASA excavated the site. If we can get more dates, we can push, the date beyond 2000 BC. Then we can relook at the travel root of white painted black and white. Now, what I am putting forth is that there is a clear phase of Chalcolithic in Tamil Nadu. We have started getting more evidences than it was say 10 decades ago or 2 decades ago. We have clear evidence of copper objects. We got 2 bangles from Tinnevelly area. We have got white painted black and red ware. We have got pottery and urn recalling Malwa Jorwe ware. So these are the evidences which lead us to the point where we say that there is a clear cut face of Chalcolithic in Tamil Nadu. In between, we have the Neolithic phase at Sangam, etc. There is also, in the Neolithic phase, you get some evidences of Chalcolithic feature like parallel sided blades, etc., which you get in Chalcolithic phase also. So in Neolithic phase, you are getting parallel sided blades. These are all indications of a Chalcolithic phase presence in those sites. These are the white painted black and red ware from Archaeology. Here you don't get any other design, you are getting only white dots. You are getting mostly on bones and leaves. These are the examples from Tika Lupati and Halu. Another interesting, I was just doing research after I submitted the material for publication to the State Department. I was doing further research in the last 1 week or 10 days. I came across this. If you see that type B17, the last point, B17, it's a ring stand with a thick, so he's describing the ring stand. What is interesting is that at that time only the excavation report, Thakur has mentioned that this kind of ring stand is available in Adichanallur, etc. So again, these are all indications of a Chalcolithic influence. Either it's from there or from here to there. There is some sort of activity here, some exchange of ideas or something has existed between these two regions. These are all, I wanted to speak but there is no time now. These clear cut marks of bones. So I'll just conclude. The last point is the habitation site. We were also looking for habitation site. We looked around, we explored the region, but we didn't get anything. But in the second year of the excavation season, we just put a trial trenches on the northwest of the urn burials, where we got 160 odd urns. Here we got the similar kind of pottery, black and red ware. We got white painted black and red ware. We got the similar kind of pottery shapes. We got coax beads, and we got a potter's kiln. And there is no urns in that area. So all these indicate that this could possibly be the habitation site, though it's a small scale. But we have to establish this because it's only a trial train. There is an indication. That's what I'm mentioning. This is a potter's kiln. Again, the iron objects we got the graffiti, which is similar to what we get in the burial site. So there is clear link between these two areas where we excavate. So further research is required on the black painted, white painted black and red ware. The population studies, because in a 60 meter or 90 square meter area, they are getting 160 urn, which clearly shows thickly populated settlement. The date, again, we need some more samples and authors and all that required further study. Thank you so much.
Anybody wants to ask questions? So I think we are not properly studying the Tamil culture in Tamil Nadu. The only one side to be recorded the historical party. That is the idiot side,
copper objects are found in many sites.
Yeah, many sites, but we are not called
I'm not calling them, but we get
but
evidences.
property said that we have to study the archaeology also in the context of the archaeology, because we don't have any copper words or copper objects compared with other sites in Tamil Nadu. Only the site we have large number of copper utensils in Adichalur. Then you mentioned that Apukal, when they excavated that the University of Madras excavated when Rajan and Dayan was a student in the year 1980, they thought that it was a Neolithic. Then Sundara came over there and I myself we went there and we explored that area. After the antenna, antenna swords, copper, they discovered on the near the hill. Then he thought that this is a purely Chalcolithic period, and he also entered an article on that. Then 20 years back, afterwards we discovered that one, the antenna. So he said that even he found some ash mounds also nearby. So he said that definitely Tamil Nadu has a Chalcolithic period. Why you have missed? So this paper is very nice and congratulate you. Because Ajay, the date is what he has given, sir has told that that's 16,650 BCE. Art calibrated.
No, BP.
BP. Yeah, 1650 BCE.
So 3,650, 5750 BP,
but not calibrated.
plus or minus 1,200.
Yeah, that is 3,000. Yeah. So,
Take a published data.
yeah, that is published. That is published.
Not success date.
Yeah, not published.
It's a published date.
Published date. But it is not calibrated, sir. 200 or 300 years difference are there.
Come on.
One question, sir.
Hello, sir. The presentation was very informative, sir. The presentation was very informative. I was wondering, I'm just interested to know what are the cut marks and what are the interpretations given by you. Because if it is on animal bones, we can know what the cut mark is mean by. But if it is on human bone, what kind of interpretation or what it is?
Human bone.
This is a human bone.
Yeah, that is what, sir.
It was studied by, first it was studied by A.K. Sharma of the ASI.
Okay, sir.
Then it was studied by Raghavan of the Australian University.
Okay, sir.
This is studied by Raghavan.
This is an internet you can see.
This report is already available. But he says it is for some medical purpose or something.
Okay, so for medical purpose, there is been cut marks.
That's what he says.
Okay, sir.
No, medical purpose in the sense, then that means the person was living and then there should be healing also. If it was for
There was
medical
a
purpose.
trepanation there. Later we found that there was a trepanation.
Yeah.
So that was that. Healing was
So the
there.
healing, if healing is there, then only we can take it as medical.
After the
Refanning,
this was substantial. Insert the data. Insert the data. The study collections and information. He has mentioned that he identified the
Silent,
common with the other side at the time of she has published by the French what it says but varieties have gone from here or have come from here. That is an issue.
Thank you very much, sir. Next speaker is Santanu Vidya. Santanu Vidya, please present your paper.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, I'm here to, first of all, I will, on my behalf, I am thankful to the organizers, to the State Department of Archaeology, Nalanda University, for inviting us over here for the conference on regarding cultural development. And I am presenting this paper, Cultural Development in Vidarbha from Early Iron Age to Early Historic, period as seen in ceramic sequence, a study of Bhagimari, Nagpur district. So, lot of there are these different zones of early Iron Age in India, out of which one is Vidarbha. Now, this zone-wise distribution has been done by Vibha Tripathi in her book Iron Age in South Asia, and what we see is that now the dates of iron can be definitely, they can go back to the early part of the second millennium BC. Now the question is that from early Iron Age to early historic, what kind of transition can be seen, whether there was some kind of cultural development, whether there was some kind of a cultural background which was given. This question has to be answered in various ways in various regions. It has been attempted to a lot of extent of the work has been done in Ganga Valley or in northern India also at sites like Allahabad or Kosambi by Erdosi or even by Makhanlal. Now, when we come to the central India, especially Vidarbha region, it is again just like the South India, dotted with a lot of megalithic monuments. A lot of megalithic sites are present in the landscape. And apart from that, there are a few habitation sites which were known in the past, but recent surveys conducted by even Professor Mohanty and then myself and others like Virag Somtakke and this Archaeology of India and Nagpur University has yielded somewhere now we have around more than 35 to 40 megalithic habitation sites which have been known, which were not known earlier. So then this question came up that what kind of background or what kind of transition, how it might have been witnessed in this region. So for that, it was ideal to see that there was one site which was excavated by Amarnath known as Adam, and another site which was excavated by him only known as Pauni. Now both these sites in Vidarbha, they gave evidence of presence of early Iron Age. At Pauni there was a period known as, which he called as pre-Mauryan, and then there was a period of Mauryan and Satvana Shunga period. So it suggested that there is continuous occupation. But however, what is the thing is that both these sites like Adam, Pauni and even Kaundinyapur, for that sake, they were all urban centers in the early historic period. Now when we see the case of urban centers, what happens is that centers which become urban, which have urban characteristics in the early historic period around 5th century BC, 4th century BC, over there we see the presence of northern black polished ware, and we also see the presence of punch mark coins. Now when these things start appearing over there, it definitely suggests that there was a lot of contact with some surrounding areas and other places. Now then, was this urbanization or was this cultural change, it was initiated locally or it was brought out from context was coming from outside? This was the question again. Because if we go at bigger sites like urban centers, these centers which develop into urban centers later on, it has been because of a lot of contacts which are coming from outside also. Definitely if there are contacts coming from outside, then only there is a lot of dynamism which can be seen in the community. So for that, what I did is I took up this area. Now over here there is, you can see over here, this is Bhagimari. Now this one site which I had taken for analysis was because actually in the last conference over here only in Chennai, I presented a paper about the socio-economic perspectives. Over there I had told about the analysis which was carried out by US Murthy and then even by myself on the excavated burials and how the grave goods as well as the physical types which are being seen in Vidarbha and the various subtypes which have been pointed out by R.K. Mohanty, how they have given us an idea about the socio-economic conditions of the megalithic people and the early Iron Age people. That there was a lot of dynamism in society, there was a lot of craftsmanship in society, and based on that we can see that the burials were also showing that kind of stratification. Now, when the society is showing such kind of dynamism in which we can definitely identify warriors and agriculturalists and then craftsmen like bead makers and smithery and then other activities also like leather workers and cane workers, etc. When these things have been identified, and this is not a picture of only Vidarbha, it's also is there in the southern Deccan, or rather in the Telangana region also, where we have such sites. And then when we see there are horse riders coming up in the burials, so they have definitely prepared a cultural background for this society which we can call as a complex society. So that complex society which we see in the urban characters, that society is definitely prepared. But then, did this cultural transition also happen in smaller sites or rural areas? That is also very essential, because if we can see only in urban centers, then it is bound to say the idea is bound that it has come because of contacts with other areas. Like when we read some historians, they already have tendency to say that a lot of urbanization and urbanism or this complexity came into Deccan and southern India because of the contact with the Magadhan region or because of the contact with the northwestern India. So that is not the case, because that should be seen even in the rural areas. Now if rural sites like Bhagimahari or Mahurjari, if they are showing a culture which is having socio-economic dynamics of so many different craftsmen and agriculturists and warriors and such kind of thing, then there should be some kind of cultural transition over there and seen in the site also. Therefore I took up this site. Now it was also taken up, this is what I just told about these things. So Vidarbha, known mostly from the stone circle type with cane filling, and also we have dolmens and some sporadic remains of chamber with capstones also. So Bhagimahari, this was excavated by late Professor S.B. Dev. Now it happens to be his birth centenary year also. And this is the month when he was born, in November. So S.B. Dev's birth centenary year, and he is the one who did pioneering work in early Iron Age, and this also happens to be the 200th year of beginning of megalithic research in India, when Babington published in 1823. So this is 2023. So he excavated at Bhagimahari. Now he pointed out some very important observations, that the site was having an extensive habitation mound, and it happens to be northernmost site of Nagpur district. And then he excavated, but he did not excavate on the mound where there was early historic deposit. So again the site was subjugated to excavation by Dr. Deglurkar and Professor late Gauri Lal in 1992-1993, again by Deccan College. And now what happened was that in this excavation, they carried out excavation, they excavated on a mound which was named as mound number 3, and they found early historic deposit, and then it was early historic deposit was followed by the early Iron Age below. So therefore took up this material for a study. The trench which I analyzed was the trench named AC, and it was in mound 3. Now another trench which was named as AB on the mound number 2, it was not yet done completely, but the Professor Dev's analysis of that ceramics, it was, and some dates which Professor Dev had published already from Bhagimahari, he has given the date of around 5th century BC for the end of the megalithic period occupation over there. So the site of Bhagimahari is on the banks of river Kolar, and it falls in the burial cum habitation category. And so the trench was divided in 10 habitation layers, and the depth of 2.25 meter was there. So lowest level yielded megalithic occupation, whereas the uppermost had the material of late historical material. So what was seen is that from layer 10 to layer 7, we could see there is continuously the occupation of the megalithic types. So we had the black and red ware, also we had the painted black and red ware with some white paintings on them. And then we also had the black burnished ware. Now it is also a subcategory of the black handed ware. And then red slipped, that is red slipped or a matte slip, which we call it. And then these ceramics, they continued till the layer 7. And mostly what we see is that the black handed ware, black burnished ware, and tanware was confined only to the bowls, which were incurved in shape. So over here we can see mostly these were all black handed ware, whereas this was the micaceous red ware, which is very typical of the megalithic period. Now with flaring rims and funnel shaped mouth. Along with that, what we see is that we also have some red ware with some bulbous rims, which are present, but they are also the bulbous nature is we can see on the exterior, but there is flaring nature of the rims can be seen. Now this was the nature of ceramics which we see in till layer 7. Such pottery was found. Now what we see is
Go a little bit faster.
okay, yeah. So what we see is that this is which we when we compare such ceramics with the pottery found from Mahurjari and also from the Takalghat Thapa, other excavated sites, what we see is that we have the presence of typical megalithic pottery. And then when we go to the layer number 6 and 5 over here, now what happens is that these two layers, they're very important. Why? Because over here we see there is introduction of some new ceramics which are reported from the sites like Adam, Pauni and Paunar also. But now, as I told, all these sites are urban in nature, whereas this site, it remains rural in nature. But at this site, we see that there is again a cultural overlap between the early historic and early Iron Age, which is very important to understand that there is some development, some cultural development which is happening locally and not induced completely from external contact. So over here, what we can see is that in layer 6, we see the introduction of these new types, but what we see is that the continuation of the funnel shaped and the hooded rims, which are typical to the early Iron Age, and also we see the continuation of black and red ware, but we see the introduction of new types where we have the beaded, where we have the beaded rim and flaring rim, external projecting rim with a beaded exterior, or also we have a beaked rim. So such kind of types, they are getting introduced in this layer number 6. And in layer number 5, we see again further introduction of these rims which are having, generally we call them as a bulbous exterior rim and with a beaked feature. Now these are all reported from Pauni period 1 and from Adam. But what we see is that the typical some early Iron Age ceramics, they continue over here, and over here also we can see. So it shows that there is overlap in two layers which is happening. So this overlap suggests that this kind of ceramics which are appearing newly, so it suggests the overlap of early Iron Age to early historic. And then we have layer 4 where we have the only early historic ceramics which are present. So this is early historic ceramics. And again this we can see these are from Pauni period 1. So which are showing that it was not that at Pauni or at Paunar it was thought in the report, if we see it is written at Pauni and Paunar by S.B. Dev in those days in 1970, that there is contacts coming from the northern India in the form of northern black polished ware, and we see that there is Magadhan supremacy coming up all over, as it was thought in those days all over in the academic world. So therefore we see that new types are coming in, and hence we see cultural transition might have happened on a larger scale. Same was thought even for other areas also, but it is not the case which I wanted to project over here, that cultural transition is happening locally, society is becoming dynamic locally, and we can see it also in the occupation, not only in the burials and in the social dynamism, but also in the from the ceramics we can see that this is there. So therefore I made this small chronology, and it can be dated to around 10th to 6th century BC, and then the period of transition can be dated somewhere around 5th century BC, where we can see the transition from early Iron Age to early historic happening. So this is the later period, Satavahana period ceramics. So this is how we can understand that in rural sites, which have also prepared the background for the early historic, we need to not ignore them. Generally, we concentrate more on the urban centers, but it is these rural sites which make up make the gamut of the culture, as we can call them, because they prepare the background, and then only the urban centers in certain point of time in the early historic they have developed. So these rural sites they need to be checked for understanding their cultural dynamism, cultural development, as well as, now I have not shown over the results of the burials already because I presented in March in the same seminar in March. So coupled with that, we can say that there is the background or the cultural transition is happening locally, and definitely there is some external contact. We cannot avoid any external contact, but there is this bias for urbanism or bias for statehood which is present in the community over there. B.K. Thapar has written in his report at Maski that these people have got a bias for urbanism. In the very first, in the Chalcolithic, Maski has written that. So that we should not undermine that. The local nature of the transition has to be looked in. So thank you. Okay.
Go for next paper.
Yeah. So very quickly I will present my guide's paper over here because he could not come over here. So it is a presentation about excavation, relocation and reconstruction of megalithic burial experiment. Now at Mahurjari. Now what happened is that when they were excavating at Bhagimari, as I just told, so at the site there was Professor R.K. Monti and Professor Esra Valimbe also, well-known bioanthropologists. They did an experiment of reconstructing a burial locally over there. So what they did is that the megalithic number 6 at Bhagimari, they dug a trench in it 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter and 50 centimeters deep, and they removed the filling material, and then it was measured in cubic meters how much it is, and then the same material was again procured from the resource area like black soil, then the pebbles, and then the entire burial was reconstructed. Now when entire burial was reconstructed, this experiment was done especially to check the demographic approach of the Vidarbha megaliths, and then the article also was published by them that around 60 to 70 people will be required to work for 8 to 10 days. So such kind of population support should be required. So in that case, Bhagimari or any other settlement should be having a population of around 300 people, so which can have 60-70 working men in them. So this was the, on basis of that, again an experiment was being done about how to relocate and reconstruct that megalithic burial at some other location. So therefore this burial was chosen. Now the reason for choosing this burial was also that it was quite impressive in its nature, and it was in megalithic site of Mahurjari in locality H, megalithic number 28. So when this was being done during the excavation, what was the main purpose of this excavation also was to relocate this burial in IJRMS Bhopal, Indira Gandhi Manav Rashtriya Sangrahalaya. So during the excavation, therefore all the boulders which were there, they were named according to their direction, as well as numbers were being put. The directions were put, which are on top, which is on below, which is on the left, right side. All these were marked, and then the balk to the material in the balk, all the 4 quadrants was also packed accordingly. So this was how it was excavated, and you can see the numbers over there on the burials. You can see the numbers being written. So when this was being done, along with that, there were other features like stones with cup mark. Now this was stone number 21 and 22, which had cup marks. So these were also documented in situ. And then we can see there is a lot of cane filling over here. So when this cane filling was removed within, it was noticed that cane filling was also being done not uniformly, but in some concentrations. Why? Because there were more than one burial in this burial. So there was more than one interment of the dead. Now both of them were secondary in context. But what was noticed that to protect the burial below, such kind of cultural activity which might have been done in the past, like supervising and seeing that there are small canes are being made within this big stone circle, that activity could also documented, and the same was documented because it was needed to be reconstructed also over there. So segregation, numbering was being done, and then packing of the entire dugout material was being done in gunny bags. So around 600 gunny bags were being packed with material from each quadrant, each direction and location wise, along with the stones, and then all of these was lifted. Before that, when the documentation was being done, it was being done block wise, and then direct in the block also direction wise and depth wise, all the material was packed, and then it was transported from Mahurjari to so this is the process of going and quadrant wise and dig wise loading of the soil and pebbles. So all of them were labeled, and then it was loaded according to the quadrant wise and dig wise, and the vehicles were arranged accordingly for 4 quarters. Different 4 vehicles were arranged, and then it was taken to IJRMS. Now big stones, definitely they were needed to be lifted, so they could not be rolled down, so they were all lifted by mechanical cranes and put in the trucks. So this was how it was being lifted. Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yes. So it is done, and this is the team. So all this was being lifting, and then all the boulders, they were numbering 37, approximately 64 tons, and then entire material was transported to Bhopal. So this is in at the Bhopal, we can see. This is in Bhopal, where again it was laid out. The entire burial was laid out. The measurements were being taken. So the box were there, and the box were laid down with the help of lines, and then wooden planks were placed, and the peripheral boulders were also placed in the same orientation in which they were at Mahurjari. So you can see over here, and then these were wooden planks which were used for a balk, and then balk wise the material was arranged in them along with the secondary features which could be seen at Mahurjari during excavation. They were also placed accordingly in the same burial, and then this entire filling was being transported to make the relocate and reconstruct the same burial for the open air museum for people to witness. And this is the team over here. This is after burial, after reconstruction, and now we can go and see it in the campus also at Bhopal. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next paper will be presented by Professor Rajavelu.
Good afternoon to all. At the outset, I would like to thank the State Department of Archaeology for having given me the chance to stand before you, and particularly to my friend Sivanantham and his colleagues. They have made excellent arrangements for the commemoration of the 100 years of Dr. Kalaignar. My topic is excavations at Manthripattinam. It's a small-scale excavations as a curriculum part of our Department of Maritime History and Marine Archaeology. We have done these excavations on the coastal line. Since it is a Maritime History and Marine Archaeology, we are concentrated on the coastal region. This is the site of other sites of major port cities of Tamil Nadu, ancient Sangam period port cities. And we have to concentrate on the small ports also. We have explored the entire south coastal region along with Dr. Ajay, my colleague, and we made an exploratory survey from Pumbuga to Kanyakumari. I took the part of Rameswaram to Kanyakumari, and I took up the northern part of Rameswaram to Pumbuga. Then we explored the entire area, and we found some coastal sites along the Bay of Bengal. So far we have concentrated on the coastal region. Excavations have done by the agencies like Archaeology of India and the State Department of Archaeology, as well as the Department of Maritime, the Department of University of Madras, and Archaeology of India made again Mahabalipuram, Arikamedu, Pumbuga, Arankulam, Korkai, Mamalam. Besides, many number of small ports were functioned in the early historic period as well as the medieval period. So when I was in Archaeology of India, Dr. Satyamurthy was a superintendent archaeologist of circle, and the Geological Survey of India, they explored some area for aquaculture in the Pattukotte region. So one of his friends and he came over to our office and he submitted some objects of medieval period and coin along with coins. And he only deciphered all the coins and he presented a paper in the numismatic conference. And that coins, total number of coins they recovered from the survey, nearly 17 coins. And along with that, one silver Panchama coin he noticed, and Roman copper coins 4, Chola coin 6, Pandya coin 1, Veera Kerala of Venad coin 1, and identified coins 4. So this research paper he has published in the numismatic conference seminar, and it is already published. On the basis of that, we have also explored that area, and this is the paper, and he published in it, and he found the Panchama coin and the Roman coin. It was very interesting, and so we wanted to do some small scale excavation. As a curriculum part, they offered only not a huge amount. So they offered nearly under 1,50,000, from which we did 2 seasons excavations. So these are the finds of coins, Panchama coins of 3rd century BC, late Roman copper coins dated to 4th century CE. That is Chola Pandya coins of the medieval period were reported by the excavator Satyamurthy, 1997. Again he did some sondages. Small scale excavations he did in the Manthripattinam area. The local people called this Manthripattinam as Manthripattinam. So Bandar, you know that that is a port in those days known as Manthripattinam. So the local people called, but now it is known as Manthripattinam. So when a large number of small ports are located on the eastern coast. So we explored the entire area again after I joined in Tamil University, and we found some of the sites in the coastal Bay of Bengal, Chinnamani, Manora, Piliyar Tirthidal, Sedubhavan Chattiram, then Kamukadunda, Karaguda, Sambaipattinam, Amman Chattiram, Adaikalakthevan Pattanam, Nandalipattanam, Manthripattinam, Somanatha-Pattanam, like that. So all along the eastern coast of that Bay of Bengal. Then we concentrated on the Pattukotte region because since our university is located in the Tanjavur city, so that is very near place. Simbian Pattanam and Krishna Pattanam, Mumbai, like that we have concentrated. And finally we have chosen that Manthripattinam for our season excavations in the summer days time. This is located in the Peravurni Taluk, then Tanjavur district, Tamil Nadu. The total area of amount we have only 4 acres because due to the development of aquaculture, most of the mounds have been destroyed by the local people in order to establish the aqua development culture there. So many mounds are there. When we were explored that area in the 1997. But when we went to the excavations, we found only 4 acres of mound in that Manthripattinam area. That is Muthamizh area. This is 39 kilometers east of Muthamizh region, Muthamizh section of the eastern coast. And between the Manthripattinam and Manthripattinam, we found a small mound. Then we have concentrated on that area. So we have explored that area, myself and Kumar and Rajamani. Then we found the mound. So this is the mound area on the coastal region. Since it is a sandy area along with the coastal region, it is not possible to locate the entire mound with the stratigraphic position. So we asked the Bharadas University support the GPR explorations. So for the first time we used GPR because now the state archaeology they are using that GPR. For the first time in the year 2012 and 2013 we used the GPR system. But that is also failed because it is located on the wet region. Because the coastal region it is not possible to locate the exact mount with the help of GPS system. So this is a coin we record from the exploration, and the pottery also we record from the explorations. So then we started the excavations in the year 2012 and 13 and 14. So we have chosen 2 trenches in the first year and 5 trenches in the second year. So the deep of we could not able to find even the natural soil also because since it is covered with sandy, so it is not possible for us to reach because we thought when we don't get any material, then we stop the cutting the trenches. This is the trench. Then we found some pottery pieces and pottery utensils and other things also. But we have got large number of semi-precious stones and as well as the pipeline and the coins. Large number of coins we found in this. This is the pipeline we got it. This is terracotta pipe. In 2 trenches we got this one. So this is the trenches on the coastal region. So this is another side on the southern side of the proper town, proper village Manthripattinam. And here also we got the terracotta figurines and other utensils like semi-precious stones. And this is the pottery pieces. These are the side, another side. So I will go to the objects what we have acquired from the. This is one we found one mud wall this is the temporary settlement of the traders. This place is temporary settlement of the traders. They are not lived particularly permanently in that area. This is the utensils of the pottery we got it, but mostly the black and red ware very meager amount. But the red ware we got it, a large number of red ware potters we got it. And terracotta pipeline also we got it in another trench. So this is the terracotta pipe. It goes nearly 2 meters. This is the terracotta pipeline. The antiquities. So in the excavation also we got the punchmark coin. So Satyamurthy also noticed the punchmark coin of 3rd century BC. It also belongs to 3rd century BC, but it has a the sun and sun symbol and the bow symbol on the river side. Then we have the Rajavelu coins. Large number of Rajavelu coins we have. Then we have the Kulothunga coins of Chola period. These are the coins recorded from the excavations, not stratigraphically we studied. So on the basis of coins only, we fixed the date for the site. So these are the Rajaraja period Chola coins, corroded, mostly corroded. This is the Vijayanagara coin. When the Vijayanagara coins were recovered, Ramaraya coin. Upwards we have the Vinayaka and the river side we have the Nagarjuna Ramaraya. This is also on the upper level we got it. Then we have the corroded coin of the late period. Then we have the Chera of Wayanad coins. Even in the exploration also, Satyamurthy found the Kerala contact with the eastern coast people because they had trade contacts through land and through which they had a maritime activities on the eastern coast also. This is Veera Kerala with the crocodile, Sri Kandarangakya Veera Kerala. That is 12th century CE. This coin we found. Even he also noticed some kind of Kerala type of coins. Then this is the Veera Narayana silver panam of 16th century. So up to from Sangam period up to 3rd century BCE to up to 16th century, this small port served as the small port along with the major ports like Nagapattinam, Adagankulam like that. So these are the coins we record from the excavations. Then we got the gold objects also. So raw gold coins we got it, raw gold objects we got it, and the pendulum with the Salsidani with the gold we got it from the excavations. This is a raw gold. So it could be they manufactured here itself. Then we have large number, nearly 6,000 beads in all varieties, not only the Salsidani or Carnelian. All varieties we got from this because this Manthripattinam we identified with the Manthripattinam in the Sangam literature. Kodumanam Painda Armani Buddham. So when the Kodumanam is famous for the manufacturing of semi-precious stone, and he went to all the coastal ports and went abroad. They exported to Roman countries. So this was served as the small port in those days, exported the semi-precious stones. So nearly 6,000 this kind of semi-precious stone we got it from the excavations. These are the semi-precious stones. So the report yet to become, it's a preliminary report only. Then we have the terracotta, cornelian, agate, quartz, glass, face beads, etc. from the excavations. Then terracotta figure, we got it as a terracotta figure. It looks like even the modur also we got the same kind of the torso and also the head of the woman. Then terracotta figure, we got it from the two trenches. These are the terracotta figure, the terracotta pipeline. So since this area is located very near to the perennial lakes, the ships and boats used to come for temporary shelter, and they might have been filled with water, pure water and food also. So they used it temporarily for the purpose of their needs. So this is the Manthripattinam excavations. We identified with the Manthripattinam of Manthripattinam literature. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Kumar.
I once again thank you, the State Archaeological Department, the Government of Tamil Nadu, for giving me opportunity to deliver Keeladi. Keeladi has spoken many times in many forums. Anyhow, this is the national seminar. Once again, I am going to presenting my paper. 2 years, our team has conducted the excavation in that region, and we discovered the site Keeladi. Keeladi is known to world now. There is no need to tell anything about Keeladi. Everybody knows about the Keeladi. I like to tell basic features of the Keeladi after completion of my report. I am presenting this presentation, already presented in Madras University also. The main aim of the excavation is try to find out a pure habitation site in Tamil Nadu. That is the motto behind the identification of Keeladi, nothing beyond that. Actually, we don't have, till date, we have not excavated any proper habitation sites in Tamil Nadu. So we have already excavated like Arikamedu as well as Pumpattinam. They are not proper in-depth study has not been carried out later on. Then when you go to Adichuru, it's a pure burial site. That's why our team has decided to go for a exploration, in-depth exploration in the year 2013-14. So we surveyed Vaigai, the region Vaigai. Previously, before starting the work, we referred our predecessors' work, particularly Dr. K.V. Raman also explored the region of Vaigai, particularly in the Tirmangalam region in 1970s, as well as Professor Rajan also explored in the upper reaches of the Vaigai. Besides smaller scale excavations conducted in 1988, 1976 and 1980 and 1986 by state departments and ASIs, particularly Tikal, Putti, Anupanadi, Kolan, Kotal, Paravai, Alangulam and Mangulam. In this perspective only the region was existed. A full area study of Vaigai was carried out by our team in 2013-14. We selected the region as Vaigai. We started our work from the Western Ghats to Bay of Bengal. The Vaigai river is, you know very well, that is 270 kilometer lengthy river. It's not a perennial river, I can say it's a perennial river, it is a rainy river. Anyhow, but in this region, the civilization has been developed, we can say. So many sites are there. So many sites are identified by our predecessors also. We visited the site again and we re-documented the site. In this area, we actually the Vaigai river is passing through 5 districts, particularly Theni, Dindigul, Madurai, Sivani, Ramanapuram. But we have not concentrated on entire district. We just concentrated on both the left and right bank of the river. That is 10 square kilometer area we have taken as an exploration area, and we explored the entire village and the entire village has been explored and documented. Near about 293 sites are documented by us. That is the most important work has carried out in 1 year by our team. That is the reason for the selection of Vaigai also very interesting. Why we have selected Vaigai? Everybody are asking why you are selecting Vaigai. Actually, Vaigai was spoken several times in the Sangam literatures compared to other river. Vaigai has given more important predominant place in the Sangam literatures. That is why we have selected. And then we have to understand about Madurai. We don't know how old Madurai was. That's the problem with us. Actually, we are having literary evidence near than 10,000 years this city is living, but we don't have any archaeological evidence behind that. Our 18th century literature, Irena Ragapurul, Kalaignar Urai has clearly says Madurai lives more than 10,000 years. It is once upon a time in then Madurai, then later on it was submerged and Kabadapuram was they shifted, and now they are Vadamudurai, they are calling the present Madurai. There is such a way the literature spells about the Madurai and its past, but we don't have any antiquity of Madurai. The reason behind this, we got a archival map 1757. This map has given guidance to us. 1757 Madurai was existed only in this area. You can see this archival map. This was cartographed by the French army team. They documented the Madurai city. It is all the 4 fortification was covered within the Veli Vidis. We can call it as a Veli Vidis in Madurai. You know very well. Within that only the city was existed. In this place, you don't have any space to excavate or authenticate the antiquity of the city. This is a congested city now. There is no space is available. In the center of the fortified place, our temple, Meenakshi temple is there. There is no scope for excavation to understand Madurai. In these circumstances only we have selected the river Vaigai and explored. This is the 1906 another archaeological map we got. That time we can see in 1834 a collector Blackburn as a collector came to this place as a collector of Madurai. He demolished the entire fortification wall, expanded the city. After expansion, you see the city was expanded like this only. So in this circumstances, there is no opportunity in Madurai to do the excavation. That is why we selected the river Vaigai and explored entire Vaigai region, and we covered near about 270 kilometers lengthy river Vaigai, and we documented 293 sites in that region. Among them, 170 sites are newly discovered by our team. These are the main plotted area of the explored area. I don't want to elaborate explorations. This is an important habitation sites discovered during our explorations. Besides, we found several type of burials, as well as we found epigraphy, as well as stone inscriptions and loose sculptures and hero stones and dilapidated temples also we documented. Then our background of narrowing the Keeladi. How we reached Keeladi is the important one. Among the 293 sites, we shortlisted near about 100 habitation sites we have listed in our documentations. 100 habitation sites are available in the entire Vaigai region. So we have to study about Madurai. It is not possible in Madurai. So we have to approach a very close site near Madurai. That is why we are trying to see. We zeroed at Keeladi. The reason was the zeroed at Keeladi. Behind this is only 12 kilometers from Madurai. It is east of Madurai. Another site we identified as Amarnath also, that is 35 kilometers from Madurai, east of Madurai. Another one is Sridharan, that was west of Madurai, it is 40 kilometers west of Madurai. The reason for the Keeladi was intact mound, that is why we selected. That was not undisturbed, that was due to coconut grove that site was protected. The coconut was planted more than 40 years back. Before that, that was only dry agricultural land as a huge mound once upon a time in 1970s. That time the state archaeological people also found some antiquities from there. In 1976, the region, particularly there is a teacher is available in Keeladi, Dr. Balasubramanian. He informed the state archaeology about the antiquities are finding accidentally there in the region. They examined that antiquities also. That time they have not thoroughly examined the site. So after that they planted the coconut grove, and now it became a coconut plant grove. Entire coconut grove is protected the site. That is why we selected. Because one way it is protected by the coconut trees. So it is available with intact site. That's why we selected the site and we excavated. We first of all contoured the site. Near about 110 acres are there in that entire mound. Now at present 110 acres are there. 400 kilometers circumference is there with this mound. This is the village map. You see the portion that is circled portion is the now available archaeological mound. On the east there is a Manlur tank is there. West is the Kondagai tank is there. This is the aerial view of the site. You see this is the habitation. The entire coconut grove belongs to the habitation site. Exactly 600 meters southwest, there is the burial site of the Kondagai. That also be recorded in our exploration. This is the present Kondagai village. This is the aerial view of the Keeladi site. This is the contour. We have made a contour, proper contour has been made by the ASI. Entire mount has been measured and properly we imagine and put an imaginary grid of 10 by 10 meter grids. This is the aerial view of the mount. The ASI has carried out 102 trenches in the 2 seasons of excavations. This is the grid pattern, showing the general grid pattern. Actually, the mount is about, we are having 650 meters deposit. Basically, we calculated from MSL. MSL we calculated up to Sulaiman. Sulaiman MSL comes under 115 meters. The mount, the height comes under 118 meters. Only 3 meter difference is there. However, the deposits available here is 6.5 meter deposits available there. So it indicates some changes in the geographical pattern is happened. The once upon a time river flowed near to this, close to the site. Now it is moved northern side, near about 700 meters away from the mount. As well as based on the stratigraphical base, as well as this is the stratigraphy you can see the lowest level is more than 600 meters deposits. We are getting a lowest level, we are getting the black and red one. See the black and red one. Based on the stratigraphy as well as AMS date, we come to the conclusion of the site. Actually, we got 88 samples collected during our excavations. Among the 88 samples, only 23 samples were dated. By us, among the 23, 2 samples were rejected due to some technical errors. The 10th sample was sponsored by Government of Tamil Nadu. I have to thank them. They have sponsored me for the dating purpose. Based on the AMS date as well as based on the stratigraphical and other dating material, the site has been dated as stated like this. The site has been evolved and lived more than 1,100 years, we can say. It starts from early phase of the early historic period, that is 8th century BC to 5th century BC is the early phase of the structure is available that covers the lowest level from 6.5 meter to maximum 3 meter level covers the early phase, and 3 meter to 1 meter covers the mature phase. There only you can find enormous structural activities as well as enormous urban character. That is why we are calling it as an urban center. All urban activities are found in this site from mature phase of 5th century BCE to the end of the 1st century BCE. And another late phase is very less. There are only half a meter deposits available due to agricultural activity. It was frequently used the land. We don't have any much upper level of the deposits. Only 50 to maximum 1 meter deposits available in the upper level. That gives the date of end of the 1st century BC to 3rd century CE. That is the date we have confirmed through AMS as well as the stratigraphical based in Keeladi and submitted in the report. Next is I want to say there is no need to tell. I have to tell the date. That is why the presentation has made. So many structural activities are found in 2 seasons. Such as structural activities, first time I come across large structural activities in Tamil Nadu. Ring wells also found associated with near about, we excavated more than 5 ring wells in our 2 seasons of excavations in different level. They are not in one level, they are in different level. So it indicates the center was slowly developed in a stage by stage. You see this another variety of structures. It's a drainage pattern. Then you can see that the terracotta, this is a distillation pattern. I don't want to say it's a terracotta drainage. It's a distillation, something was distilled. What they distilled, we don't know. We have not experimented, actually we have not, residue test has not been done to know about what they distilled. This is the terracotta pipes, so many terracotta pipes found in so many layers. You see the double layer furnaces also found. I don't want to say it's a purely industrial site. The reason behind the, I'm denying the concept is, we don't found any raw material as well as any waste material in this site. Whatever antiquity found in the 2 seasons of excavation, everything is finished goods. No raw material has been come across in my 2 seasons of excavation, as well no debitage as well as no wastage come across in our excavation. That is why we are astonishing to see how it was happened. If any industrial site means there should be raw material will be there or wastage material will be there, but nothing is there in the Keeladi. Only finished form of goods are available, so it indicates they might have prepared everything from outside and used. Such a way they are used as such urban center was existed. This may be used for any dyeing purpose also, but I don't know. Dyeing purpose we don't get any evidence of archaeologically. But such a developed double layer furnace, it is protecting the heat, and they have manufactured something, but we don't know what they manufacture. This is the another structural views. You see the structures. So variety of drainages, one open drainage, closed drainage, and there is a, you can see the one drainage was disused and they again reconstructed another drainage, the lowest level. As well as furnace also, various type of furnace also we come across. As well as post holes. Actually, the structures was the base structures only. The plinth, actually, the wall portion has been constructed with perishable material like wood. That shows the post holes, various post holes, various size of post holes. Huge planks were used for the construction of the walls, and superstructures used as a tile. Tile we found, so many tiles we found. Near about 56 brick size was documented in our report from Keeladi. Everything is only similar variations. Only one starts from 38 centimeter, one starts from 137 or 36. Maximum 39 centimeter brick, and minimum brick size is 34 centimeters. That is the major difference. So many potteries we found come across. Near about 7 lakh potteries has been recorded in our excavations. Among the 7 lakh potteries, we finally selected 1,03,076 potteries for study purpose. Entire 1,03,000 potteries were examined by our team, and we have taken into consideration only 1,824 potteries we taken into consideration and documented in our report. That is only 1.78%. Among the potteries, black and red ware is highest. Dating is going from 8th century BC to it comes under the 3rd century, 3rd century AD. But black and red ware particularly goes the earlier level.
8th century.
8th century.
Huh? That is what is the gold slip?
That, yeah, I have to tell. One peculiar variety of gold slip micaceous were found at Keeladi. Similar pottery was noticed in the Swat Valley in northeastern Pakistan. Nowhere it is found in India. Swat Valley we come across gold slip ware. I will show that gold slip. This is black and red ware. The red ware batteries. Red polished. As well as the decorative, huge storage jars, decorative storage jars. White painted, already spoken about that, white painted and rasa coated. Then dowlated, celadon. You see this is the micaceous variety. We come across this micaceous variety not anywhere in Tamil Nadu. First time we come across in Keeladi. This reference is got only from the Swat Valley. Swat Valley we are having the reference. The study was being made there. So it requires further study of this pottery, where it has come from to this region.
Is glittering or?
It is glittering. It is glittering. It is glittering. Then perforated, as well as you see this Sunga Kushan type of spouted. So it is, that is why we are calling it urban. It's a pure urban site. We need further examination. See the decorated pot shells.
Do you have the pottery with Tamil script?
Yes.
In the early days, that is 8th century.
Yeah, I got at the depth of 4.5. meters
That is 8th
level.
century BC.
But I don't date as 8th century BC. I didn't get any carbon samples in that level. If I get the carbon samples in that level, I can surely date. But I don't have a carbon samples. I got a carbon sample. Everything comes under 300 BC levels in mature character. Then mat impressions and jackfruit impressions as well as the cloth impressions. Then variety of graffitis. Near about 2,447 graffitis found in our excavations. Only we take into consideration 797 only. But due to repeated symbols, we have considered only 797 graffiti only documented in our report. Besides, 108 Tamil Brahmi scripts found in 2 seasons of excavations. The largest one was a Perumover. That is the largest one. Vendan was the first time discovered in this region. Yaravadan is first time is discovered in this region. And tentatively we dated 5th century BC to mature period. 5th century BC to end of 1st century BC on stratigraphical ground as well as based on the AMS date. I got a date actually up to 300 meters, 3 meters only, 3 meters only, not beyond that. If meticulously we have seen in future excavations, we collect any carbon dates in the lowest level, definitely we can able to date the site. This is the Chandanavadi, we can spell it out, Chandanavadi or Chandanavadi. Then Vasai Perumover. Then in situ photograph of the Brahmi swords, black and red were bound. Madai Sime. Then Kubiran. As well as numerous, so many, near about 5,765 antiquities we come across in the 2 seasons of excavations. So many things. Among them is the glass object is highest one. This is was started out. Also, we come across iron objects in the lowest level. That is the new evidences here. We found iron objects in a very good number of iron objects in the lowest level we found. In situ we found. These are the few glass beads and terracotta beads. We classified the beads and shape wise and as well as color wise. 3,102 glass beads will come across. As well as pearl bead also found in first time in Tamil Nadu. Pearl. This is another view. Terracotta objects. Seal. This is ivory objects. Ivory comb, ivory dice, ivory stylus, and ivory ear ornaments. Everything come across in the 2 seasons of excavations. This is bone. I don't want to say bone, horn objects, arrowheads, and iron and copper objects. Then stone weights. We come across stone weights and bone pendant and dice, gamesman. As well as celt, I don't want to call it as a Neolithic site. It is a historical context. We getting the Neolithic celt in the stratified layer. It requires further study. So I can say the site might have been developed from little more earlier, what we dated.
We have in Archaeology also large number of Neolithics.
Yeah.
We have.
That is why I'm not calling it a Neolithic. That's why I'm calling it a historical context only. But we need to study the site. So definitely it will give some clue of the evolution of the site. But we tentatively, presently, we are with the available material, we dated the site. It was originated 800 BC onwards and lived up to 300 AD. Not more than 300 AD also, but we don't have any evidence. But we need to study further. Then only we can able to get actual data of the site. As well as the site, main background of the development of site is the rice protection is the main background for the development of agricultural growth, as even empowerment for the development of the site. Besides, we got 15 coins, among them 2 punch mark silver coin. It is particularly I want to say this coin contains silver contains with carbon. It is unique. Like how the steel was allied with steel, actually iron was made as a steel with the use of carbon has been added and they made as a steel. Similar practice as there here in copper, in silver, they carbon used as alloy. It is a peculiar one. Now it is required to study further. Then only we can able to understand the metallurgy of the site. This is the phytoliths reports as well as the faunal remains reports, everything. The entire team belongs to this. The entire team has been 2 seasons excavated, and the credit goes to the entire team. Thank you very much. Thank you. If any questions you can ask.
How does this compare with the Kaveri belt?
Compare with the Kaveri belt, we need to do some excavation. Then only we can able to compare. We have not conducted any major excavation in the Kaveri belt except Kaveri Kumbhatnam. Remaining all excavations are in a smaller scale. That is why we are unable to compare.
In the northern India?
Northern India we have to do. Certainly we have to do. Not done till. It requires. Yeah, we have to compare. Now only I submitted my report. It will be compared with other reports of the North Indian sites.
Oh, because these riverbed civilizations are there throughout North.
Throughout India, not only North. It is available throughout India.
So this golden slip mica is found in which period?
It belongs to mature period, 5th century BC period.
Because the site which I excavated in Nagpur, Nagardan, so we have found a similar golden slip
mica strip. Yes.
And it is over there we find it.
Only one reference is available now. Available is SWAT. There is no references available. I have seen.
So now we have published some article about it.
Okay. Yeah, please send.
So, but that is dated to around 2nd century AD.
Maybe.
Over there. From there,
Yeah.
century AD. So it's not going as early as.
But we are getting in the mature level. Yeah. That required.
Similar golden slip and mica.
Yes.
It is gold.
Yes.
The way in which that you describe, it is more of a rice cultivar, right?
Yes.
It comes much later.
Actually, when the rice came, we have to identify now. Neolithic has not, in South India, Neolithic has not properly been dated. That is the problem with us. Ma'am, tell me, ma'am.
1500 BC rice was there.
Huh?
1500 BC or so rice was there.
I really enjoyed the talk. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
What Shantanu also was saying, that gold slip body coated
Yes.
quartz
Yes.
is chloride talc schist.
Yeah, talc cyst, yeah.
So that is available nearby?
No,
Nowhere.
nothing is available.
Oh, that's very interesting.
That came from outside only.
So the
Yeah.
the ceramics itself are imported in it. Not,
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, your question? Yeah.
Sir, is there any architectural findings like study on lime or anything?
Lime is not found, only mud mortar used for the construction.
So there
Lime is little bit, in our 2 years of excavation, we never come across any lime. Only mud mortar used for the construction. Thank you, thank you.
Sir, during the break, can you discuss? Because we have 5 more papers, we have to break for tea also.
Thank you.
We request our joint director to give away the mementos for the dignitaries of the session. First to Dr. Nambirajan sir. And Dr. Shantanu Vaidya. And he will be receiving for Dr. Rammoorthy also. Next to Dr. Rajavelu sir. Then to Dr. Amarnath Ramakrishna. Thank you. We'll be having a 15 minutes break for tea. Then we are having 5 more papers. Kindly be on time. Thank you. Sharp 5:15 we will start the session.
High temperature.
we are moving to the next session. We are having 5 papers in the session. This session will be led by Dr. K.P. Rao sir. Over to sir.
Good evening, everybody. Straight away, I will start my presentation. It is already late, so we have 5 papers in this session. Each one would be getting 10 minutes because it is time is very short and it is very late. So I am making my first presentation. It is on the process of urbanization in South India, a micro study based on GIS analysis. The study is made in the southern Andhra Pradesh, region of southern Andhra Pradesh, where we have this Swarnamukhi and Kalangi rivers. The Pulikat Lake is here. You may get an idea where is it located, near Sriharikota, you can say. So this is the Kalangi river which merges with Pulikat. Because I am shifting the screen. So the main river, that is the Swarnamukhi, is this one. This is the course of Swarnamukhi, and this is Kalangi river. And in this area, I have made intensive explorations, and we have discovered some 10 or so new sites, and some already existing sites were studied. So I will straight away go to the GIS window. So here you can see the distribution of these 18 sites. So they are of different potential, starting from Neolithic and then Megalithic, Early Historic. Early Historic we have divided into 2 phases, that is A and B. So I will let me start with the distribution of. You can understand how the sites are proliferating as the time passes. So the Neolithic we have 3. As it is, I have to say that the Neolithic is decided for these sites, except this Chikrupelli, that is the southernmost side. This Chikrupelli is definitely a Neolithic site because we have also some ash mound remains and grey ware and lot of these ground stone tools and stone balls and other typical Neolithic things. So here in this is Chittoor district. So we have, this is a definite Neolithic site. Otherwise, these 2 sites are based on just presence of the shells and the sling balls, etc. So that has to be confirmed by further work. So during the Neolithic period, whereas we have these 3 sites only, by Megalithic period, we have 5 sites. The earlier, here the other earlier Neolithic sites we do not know because we don't have the megalithic evidence from that sites, but the sites continued into the latter period. And these sites actually, except Puduru and then Gotugrolu, other sites are not excavated, so we are yet to confirm the absence, the presence of this thing, Iron Age, that is the megalithic. And then early historic, usually early historic phase A is dated from around 3rd century BC to first century CE. So the early historic phase A, we have 10 sites. The distribution is like this. And then early historic phase B, we have 14. And then among this, all these sites, we have 4 fortified sites. that is mud fortification. This Gottiprolu, Kuduru, Kotapoluru and Tondamanadu, they have mud fortification. So these are, this is the distribution of different kinds of sites. So let me briefly tell you some of the important findings. That is, the study confined to the periods from Neolithic to early historic, as I was telling. So Neolithic, there are 3 sites, and megalithic 5 sites. Early historic A, phase A, that is early phase 10 sites, and early historic phase B, 14 sites. And among them, 4 sites are fortified, as I was telling. And from this you can know that early historic phase A was the most crucial period, because maximum number of sites have grown during this early historic period. This slide I have already shown. This is distribution, yeah. So the region under study was divided into 3 categories, that is coastal, interior and hilly regions. And tentative chronology is Neolithic. We do not have any basis to give any chronology, because no site is excavated, so we didn't want to speculate on that. So only we call it Neolithic. And megalithic can be dated because it is all based on the quality of the black and red ware, etc. So we dated tentatively to 600 to 300 BC, and early historic phase A 300 to beginning of CE Common Era, and then early historic B, 1st century to 3rd century CE, etc. And among these sites, some sites have yielded evidence of iron smelting, etc. in the form of terracotta tools, iron slag, and low-grade hematite was also found at Kuduru, Kotapoluru, Gottiprolu, Uli, Sridharan and Tamil Among them, this Kuduru, Kotapoluru, Gottiprolu, Tamil are fortified sites. So locally there might have been iron production, etc. So here these are the findings. The study indicates that the plains of the coastal region were habitated, sorry, here spelling mistake is there, habitated largely by about the middle of the 1st millennium BC. So we can say 500 to 600 BC or so. Habitations started appearing in this region, just leaving aside the Neolithic, that 3-4 sites. Of these, Kotapoluru, Puluru, Guttuprolu have grown into the status of having mud fortifications. So this I need not repeat. Yeah, actually in this in the study we have taking advantage of the GIS this one facilities. The distances from the sites were calculated by generating this distance matrix. So from each site to the other site. So all the 18 sites from one site to another site, it calculates quickly and shows. So that has been used in our further this one interpretations, etc. So these are this is my brief presentation about the urbanization. So the study reveals that the early historic phase 1 was the most crucial period when we got the most this one sites, urban sites. And the paper actually also analyzes the presence of the fortifications, and then actually 2 sites, that is Kuduru and Gottiprolu, are separated by 8 kilometers only. So only within a distance of 8 kilometers, how is that 2 fortified sites are there? And if they are, if we consider them as something like some regional capitals or of some political significance, how is that at some close quarters they are existing, etc. So these are some of the questions I dealt, and also some of the problems that we have to ponder. So more details are there in my paper. So thank you very much. So there are 4 more other papers. That is, I call upon Dr. P. Mortekal to present on lowering sea level and siltation jointly caused abandonment of Korkai port, etc. So environment record, I request him to present. So yeah, you have the pen drive or? Okay, yeah, I will remove this.
Thank you. Yes, actually this talk is about a short title I would have given. So, it is about the Korkai port in Tamil Nadu. It was actually an initiation from our institute, Birbals and Infrared Paleo Sciences. So it was very specific project when the Korkai port was abandoned and then why it was abandoned. So, but it is a big teamwork. So in the literature you can see there was about the mentioning of Korkai functioning port in Megasthenes and also various literatures up to 130 Common Era. And then after that, there is no mention about the Korkai port to my knowledge. And then when Marco Polo landed in Tamil Nadu, then he landed in 13th century. That is not in Korkai, but that was a coil he called. And then we think it's like a palaya coil, old coil. So up to 130 CE, Korkai was functioning. Then 13th century, this port was functioning. Then when Portuguese came, Tuticorin became the port. So there was a northward migration of port. Then we believe the Tamarabarni river, it is influencing in here in Punnakail, that's Pudiya Kail or New Kail, new port. And then, so at some point of time, the Tamarabarni river would have been migrated southwards. So the port is migrating northwards, the Tamarabarni migrating towards southwards. That was the hypothesis we wanted to test. So we took sample from Korkai. There was a Korkai pond now. It's like a kulam, like that's a small lake, freshwater lake. So we took sample from there, and then also sample from Palaya Coil, and then some sample from inland, Armugamangalam. Yeah, there's a tank now, pond, and then also Perangulam. So if you, so we have made a 4.5 meter trench in the Korkai pond. It's very, very clear. So first 240 centimeter, 260 centimeter, you can see there's a freshwater or something. Then below there's a purely marine, big shells, oyster shells are there. And then you can see there are big shells. And then at the mid of the pond, we made the trench. So visibly there's a very clear indicator. Up to 260 centimeter, there's a freshwater stuff. Then below that, there's a marine. So at some point of time, it has been abandoned. And then it's not like when it abandoned means it's not like when it completely dry, people would abandon. That is insufficient water column also made the place unusual. So chronology also will help us to understand when that was abandoned, and then with some multi-proxy values. So we took 6 samples for OSL dating, luminescent dating, and then the ages were, so this is dated to be around 3100 BP. There's no BP we use when we use OSL, and then also there's no calibration, sir. We don't need to calibrate because when we collect the sample, that's since then this many old material is. So if I put in the age of model, so this is the oldest one, and then so here there are some places we use multi, like a fine grain material as well as coarse grain quartz. Then both were actually matching just to make it reliable. So I'll come to the detail. So now the age is converted into depth is converted into ages, and then also we have measured magnetic susceptibility, like a magnetic concentration in the sample. And then also, so we made it's a wrong file I took. Correct.
Do you have another ready?
Yeah, quickly you can change.
Yeah.
You can change.
You can change.
Can I check?
Yeah. Dr. you can do one thing. You literally get the file and then do it. In the meanwhile, I will let the next speaker do. Then there won't be any confusion. So I call upon the next speaker. That is, I do not know who is going to do. Is it Centenary? You have found? Oh, okay.
Excuse me. என்ன பண்ணணும் ரெக்கார்டை போட்டு வச்சுருக்கேன் கேஸ்லாம் திரும்பி சொன்னாங்க
extremely sorry for it. Yeah, so the ages are actually 1160 before Common Era, and then the modern sample around 20 centimeter below the surface, that was 1710 Common Era. So if once we convert the depth into ages, so it is happening around. So this is up to the functioning port of Kurkai record, and then this is Marco Polo landed in Kyle port. Then this is Portuguese time. So and then if you see the litholog, here you see marine. Then there is no shells here, and then there's a oxidized soil, and then fresh water like clay-rich material. So something happened here. So this is our clue. Actually, very clear. Litholog itself speaks a lot, and then now we try to produce more material evidence to confirm what happened there. So what was it here? So if at all here, the transition marine environment become freshwater environment during this time, and then also if you remember, we were actually trying to put the migration of river because it's actually floodplain. So the river meander here and there. It's in a shorter time scale. So at this point, we think it would have been a riverine. So we'll see the material evidence. And then also one more circumstantial evidence we try to put. The river is going through the Athur, the village, a place called Athur. And then we found two urns. This is at the northern bank, southern bank, this is a northern bank. And then the southern bank urn dated to be, as already mentioned, the age, luminescent age will have more error. Not like radiocarbon, that's very precise, but luminous age will have a lot of error. But also works are going on to reduce the error using Bayesian inference and all. So the southern urn dated to be 1420 to 1510 Common Era, and then the northern bank urn dated 1510 to 1600. So now the Kurkai is here. So the Tamarapati river would have been flown during that time. That was around 1400 to 1600. I will come to the another analysis also we did. Regime shift analysis also we did. That tells the same thing. So this urn would have been there already. And then once the river came to flow in this way, and then this urn would have been buried here. So now if you can put that, the river would have migrated or crossed the Kurkai river before 1420. And then already this age is 1450 plus 100 years. Okay, so that should be that around the 1400s, the river would have been migrated. So now comes to why it was abandoned. Now also it says like once we find the age also, it's actually, there are two causes people discuss. One is siltation of the bay caused the migration of abandonment of the port. Another one is tectonics. Actually, during our field work we roam around, but we couldn't see much tectonic features there. So only possibility is siltation, and then also now we come to see another aspect also. That's a sea level lowering, and then it's actually happening together. So we did magnetic susceptibility, and then also palinophasis, and then grain size analysis. So, and then also if you see, this is foraminifera. Foraminifera is actually a marine feature. So beyond this, there's no forum. And then if you see here, there's a grain size. EM4 is a bigger grain size. So bigger grain size fluctuates here. And then also the magnetic susceptibility is a very high value. It's a log scale. So around 250 SI unit of magnetic susceptibility was there. So there is something different source comes there. So along with the river, and also nearby this, there's a red dunes are there. So it would have been brought to that lake. So the river migration caused, it brought a lot of sediments to the material, to the bay, and then also, so this we did some regime shift analysis. Actually, change point detection also one can do based on the magnetic susceptibility, and then that also shows during this 1400 to 1600 there is a regime shift happened, and then also sequential t-test and also we did that. That also suggests this one. So put together 1400 to 1600, the marine environment become lacustrine environment, and then also we did principal component analysis based on all the proxy data. So it is actually cysts were there, forums were there. That means these were all actually marine environment. And then here sedimentation rate was very higher. That means lacustrine sediment materials were there. And then grain size were more here. And then that means susceptibility also more. These actually suggest a intermittent riverine environment. So we also did hierarchical cluster analysis and put together. This is actually marine, this is riverine, this is freshwater. So there's a 3 environment change, and then also it is already visible as I mentioned in the litholog. We have provided more proxy data to support it. And then also along with the siltation, if I put the global sea level change, this is the black one is actually mean level, global sea level change. The green one is actually east coast sea level change, and that goes well from this time onwards. The lowering of the sea starts. So here also lowering of the sea, and then this is actually nearby Perengulam pond. We dated. We did carbon isotope data that actually it says dry. So if I put together when that port was abandoned, around 1400s to 1600 or before that, okay, and then the cause is a combined cause of lowering of sea level as well as siltation. Yeah, that's the conclusion from this study.
Sir,
If any
coral reefs in there?
Which one?
Any coral reefs in that coastal areas?
Coral reef, no.
Especially
In the pond,
yeah.
there's no. But if you see the
shells as well.
if you before after 2.5 meter, big shells. Okay, and then near the Kannagi temple, if you on the way towards that, there's a beach rock, like a white limestones are there. But not when we dug, we couldn't find anything.
What is the age of the beach rock?
We didn't do. We didn't take.
Because on West Coast, near Bombay, the lovely studies of the beach rock in the West Coast of India.
Beach rocks they are dated, like P. Thomas from NGRI.
Yes.
He did from Rameswaram to Muttam. There was actually, but it was 2.6 and then up to 6,000 at that time.
Older.
Yeah.
You mentioned that around 1500 BC, that is the early stage of coral and other activities like that. 1500 BC. And you find any objects related to pottery, anything?
No. Actually, it was in the pond. So we didn't get any cultural materials.
So in Manthripattinam, we have the 600 sea, the one spread occurred and everything is followed. 600 BC is mentioned in Manimegala. The same thing 600 BC, we have come across same this beach material, the marine material, shallow form, that is Mamalabra. 600 C is the mark of the sea variations of that.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
No, here.
600 C.
Nothing. Actually, it is at the center of the pond, and then we actually wanted to study the geoarchaeologically, like geologically, what was the cause, how that interacted. But we didn't get any cultural.
We had at Salvavapam, around 600 C, the entire Mamalapuram swallowed. The same thing occurred in Mamalu, that is Kaviya also. So that's why I'm asking sea variations.
Yes, sir?
Distance between the Kotka and the coast?
5 kilometers.
5 kilometers.
Yeah.
That means sea up to the Kotka.
Yes, actually that's a bay. Yeah. So Kotka is here.
Shallow bay.
Yeah, this would have been come here, like it has now sea lower.
from my side one question. That is, what is the significance of that magnetic susceptibility and what does that indicate? Can you just enlighten us?
Yeah. Magnetic susceptibility is nothing but the concentration of magnetic minerals in the sediment.
Okay.
Now, when I say
in case if there is more magnetic susceptibility or less, what does that indicate?
yeah, it actually it indicates source change.
Okay.
The material were brought from different place than the routine route.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes,
We will close this presentation here. So thank you very much. Very interesting and very important material. I think you also have to make another presentation on behalf of I think Mrs. Priyanka Singh. Yeah. So Dr. Please open that. Yeah. Dr. Rammoorthy is going to make a presentation on behalf of Mrs. Priyanka Singh on composition.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Forum manifera? How many forum manifera?
What type?
Actually, they are benthic forum manifers, not planktonic. Like bottom living forum manifers. So I had a photograph, but I'm not an expert from that. It's like a big team, expert from like Anjali Trivedi, also like Poland, Phytoliths, forum manifer experts, but all are benthic forum manifers. So my name is Muthamizh. Hi. Very strange name. So I am presenting my student's work. Actually, Priyanka, she couldn't come because she's submitting thesis in BHU. So this is on the Sivagalai site. So already before we came to the site, already AMS age was available, radiocarbon age was available, and then we just wanted to test whether it is coming the same age or not. But in the process, we entered into a problem, and then that problem gave a lot of new science into that. So I just, otherwise 2 slides is enough to communicate the results, like what the age we got. But I just want you to take how new science we got from this archaeological conversation. So there were, I just go to the site. So Sivagalai, there are 2 layers, like one is A series and then we call L13 series, and then 5 urns we got, and then we sampled sub-samples from each urns also. Like because when I visited, we saw the lids were there and then urns, and then we just start off like also offering potteries. So now immediately we come to see that like all the lids, offering potteries and body of the urn should give the same age. So that we had a very romantic idea that okay, we collected lid, offering potteries, and then bottom of the urn and then body of the urn. So everywhere we got, assuming everything will give the same age. So this is we have sub-sample from each urn. So like from 5 urn we had 13 samples. So each urn had multiple sub-samples. So like this much thick urn, like a 5-10 millimeter sample. So we sliced. Normally a luminescence sample, outer surface cannot be dated because it has been exposed to sun. So we scrapped, and then the inner portion also sub-sample, and then we try to date. So expecting everything will give same age. Everything gave same age but wrong age. So then we understood something better. So this way we sample everything in the dark lab because luminescent dating laboratory is in the no light should be there. It's a red light just to see. And then also one complexity comes because this is empty inside. And then we have the surrounding soil, and then with the and material, each and sediment will have uranium, thorium, potassium. Uranium, thorium, potassium influence the age of the sample. So now you suppose when you date a normal luminescent dating in a normal sediment setting, we take the sample and then we measure uranium, thorium, potassium from the sample, and then assume the uranium, thorium, potassium come from everywhere. But in this urns, unless it is filled, we have empty space here. So the uranium, thorium, potassium that emit alpha, beta, gamma, they inform you like beta, it give deposit to 3 millimeter in a sediment matrix. So if suppose the beta is in the urn, and then it will, the full urn, that is actually 10 millimeter thickness, it will receive the full dose. But similarly gamma, it deposit to 30 centimeter. So this gamma from the soil deposit only some percentage of the dose, and then rest will go into empty. So we have to do some correction. So otherwise measurements, we measure infrared stimulated luminescence. We stimulate with infrared light, and then blue light will come. That light we count, and the intensity of the light is dependent, directly proportional to the age of the material. So this is the way we measure. There are two parameters are needed. Age, luminescence age equal to dose by dose rate, and then the infrared light output is correspond to the dose. And then earlier I mentioned uranium, thorium, potassium, they using that we calculate dose rate. So dose by dose rate will give light, and then so this was the protocol to measure the dose. And then also peculiar to infrared luminescence in potteries, this luminescent decay. So we call anomalous fading. And then, so for example, if you give a dose or you fill the crystal with electrons and then come back after a month, it would have been decayed little bit. So that is actually anomalous, because normally thermally decay happen, but here you don't change the temperature, still it decay. That we call anomalous, but we have the correction procedure. So this is the way we measure the dose rate, fading rate. The G parameter calculate the G fading rate. So we measure the ages, and then this is actually a radial plot. It has all the information about the ages, luminescent ages. From each sample we measure many subsamples, 25 values we measure, and then statistically we extract. So these points are actually ages, luminescence ages. And then if it is within the band, this is precise. And then here there's a probability density function, the peak value around 1.2. So this age, most probable age is 1.2. So if you take an average, that gives 1.2. So that means 1.2 thousand year. So, and remember the radiocarbon ages were 3150 age. Okay, so now luminescence age is 1.2. Similarly, if you see every urn, as I mentioned, each urn sometimes we subsample to 3 or 5, sometimes repeats also we did that. Because after conversation with Professor Rajan, we come to know something wrong, so we did everything. But still we couldn't get any better ages. All the ages were around 1.2, this is anomalously higher, and otherwise 1.4, 1.5, so this is 1.3, like that everything 1.5. So now if I put together, the age is coming around 700, 600, not much. Beyond BC, no ages have come. So we put A series and then L13 series, then also it is not coming. This is actually, we have to have age here, but nothing happened here. And then I already mentioned AMS ages are already there for the one urn, A2, U3. So the age should be here, but all our ages were actually in the common era. So something systematically wrong. So, and then by the time, as I mentioned, we were so ambitious, we want to have everything pakka, so we sent 2 samples to PRL, Physical Research Laboratory, another laboratory, and then they also started measuring. At that time, one girl was doing a very unconventional signal, post-violet IR, and then others were post-IR OSL, and then they measured larger dose than we measured. As we were measuring IRSL, they were measuring post-IR IRSL. Then we come to know something wrong there, so we measured a unconventional signals. So normally when I say unconventional, people, if you send a pottery sample to anywhere, and then the potteries are actually around 5,000, 10,000 years old, then that's normally for me modern sample or young sample, and then we simply follow IRSL. And then when we use IRSL, we never get any age beyond only in the common era. So we measured post-IR IRSL. So the protocol is different, so it's very unconventional. So we measured, and then this is the fading corrected age. It was almost doubled. Whatever we got from IRSL, the ages are doubled when we use post-IR IRSL or this sample. And then normally post-IR IRSL, I hope I'm not confusing, that signal.
You are.
Yeah. Okay, we can discuss. I'm just introducing. This unconventional signal are supposed to be not fading. It should not decay with time. But here we measured a G value should be 0, and then we have 2.3% per decade decay also there. Actually, the point is the sample is very different, and then I'll come to know XRD helps us. So we use unconventional signal, and then we got, and then after fading correction, we got, you see the green sample, this is actually A2U3, this was AMSH 1155 BCE, and then we got 1284 BCE. And then here this sample, it was measured by radiocarbon 2256, and then we got 2459, PRL also, they got 2427, all are using unconventional post-IR OSL. I mean, Athirampakkam sample also used post-IR OSL because it can date older material. And then similarly, this sample, L13U5, both PRL, within error, we got the same value, similarly for other sample. So the point is, so what is the difference between the sample? And then we did, we have to explain why is the sample very misbehaved. Normally the fading rate G value for IRSL is 3 to 5%. Here we got 15%, and then 15% we cannot correct it. And then, so when we did XRD on the sample, so we got Sanidine. Sanidine is a high temperature feldspar. It's actually a disorder is more in the crystal, and then anomalous fading rate is very high. So that's why this laterite sample have this feature. That's where Sivagalai sample or Adichanallur sample, we have to follow different protocol. We cannot follow a routine protocol. That's it, I'm done. So this is a new message to luminescent dating community. I mean, beyond 10% per decade fading rate we have observed in the sample, and that's why we have to follow an unconventional signal that also fades in the sample. So normally that signal is supposed to be stable. So this sample have given a new information to luminescent dating community as well. Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muthamizh for making presentation on behalf of your student. Your presentation was very enlightening, and it is very educative to us actually. So next presentation is by Dr. Sivanantham on application and their archaeological inferences on Keeladi excavations. Okay.
and their archaeological inferences, Keeladi excavations. So before going into the presentation, archaeological excavations are systematic destructions. So in the era of growing technology and AI world, it is like we have to document each and every features unearthed from the excavation in a very computer applications and other technologies that has been grown. It has to be used and it has to be used in the excavations. So I would like to present on those applications that has been used in Keeladi excavations and results obtained. There are a lot of applications we have mentioned in the paper, but due to time constraint, I would like to talk about only three. The first one is LIDAR, light detection and ranging. The second one is QGIS, quantum geographic information system, and the third one is R. It is an open source statistical computing software where you can make 2D and 3D scatter plotting. And all these will help us to solve elementary to complex issues. So this is the overall map of Keeladi Mount, and the highlighted area has been excavated already. And I would like to give a brief introduction about Keeladi and its clusters. So it is a single culture mound of 110 acres. It is located on the Thiru taluk of Sivagalai district in Vaigai river bank. And there has been 9 phases of excavation had been carried out. The first 3 by ASA and the rest by the Tamil Nadu State Department of Archaeology, and number of antiquities found is also listed here. And these are all the number of quadrants trench that has been excavated in the consecutive excavations. And coming to LIDAR, there are 4 uses of LIDAR. The first one is DEM, DTM, DSM and photogrammetric. So DEM, digital elevation model, digital terrain model and digital surface model. All these 3 will help us in selection of site and area for excavation. So basically, for example in Keeladi, it is a 110 acre mound. It's an extensive area. We have to identify where we have to excavate exactly. So using those 3 things, maps will be prepared and it pinpoints the highest altitude. So in case of Keeladi, the highest altitude falls on the northern part of the mount. And on the southern part, it is the lowest one. But in the first 7 phases of the excavations, the area was focused on in and around the center of the mount. So in the last 2 years, that is 8th phase and 9th phase of the excavation, we focused on the southern part of the mount, that is southern extension of the mount where there was lowest altitude, and we wanted to study what cultural deposit presents there. Because for knowing the settlement pattern, it would be incomplete without knowing each and every part of the mount. So interestingly, in the last year excavation, we found a mud floor for the first time here in the quadrant X of 17 by 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can see in the picture. And it is, we have found it at the depth of 35 centimeter. It is being spreaded to 20 meter and the thickness of the floor is 3 to 6 centimeter. And it is composition of lime and clay. So we wanted to know what is present beyond the floor and what was ramped in that. So for that, we know it is lime and clay, and we have cut in 1 quadrant. We went further deep and we saw it is a cluster of potsherds. It's thousands of potsherds we found below that. And one more interesting thing we found, it is a peculiar finding. It is at the depth of 2 meter, we found natural soiliness. And this is a map that is generated by LIDAR. It's a digital terrain model and it's a water surface map. And digital terrain model, also we have prepared contour map using that. And this is UAV survey. And the 4th one given by LIDAR is photogrammetry. So in the documentation, our main focus will be the object we are documenting, we should not destruct that. So it is a non-destructive technique. There is no physical alter or damage to artifact, and there is no powerful tool. It's a powerful tool for artifact documentation. So in case of burial documentation, we could do LIDAR and we can document before and after exposing of the urn. And before exposing the urn burial, we take LIDAR imagery, and after exposing also we take LIDAR imagery. And these are the results we have done using LIDAR, so that it documents each and every feature that presents in the urn, which is helpful for the future study or research. And again, this is the
urn number 151 of Kondagai 4. Outside the urn, we have documented what are the offering pots present and what is the orientation of the offering pot and what is the type, variety. So this urn number 155 again. The interesting thing in this urn is we have found a circular pit at the depth of 30 centimeter. For excavating it to the depth of around 100 centimeter, we have traced the urn, which means they have dug the pit for 70 centimeter and they have placed the urn burial. So we clearly trace the pit, so we have documented this also. This is the inner view of the same urn. And next, coming to R. So R software helps us handling large data sets and conducting statistical tests and creating informative graphs. So in this R software, the antiquities are plotted, catalogued and visualized. So the results that we acquired from R, we could study the patterns in the antiquity, quantity, concentration, distribution and chronology of the artifacts. So the steps involved in are the step 1, data collection. So what we do in the for using this, we have to take in situ photo when we identify the artifact. And the second thing, we take depth. Usually in the excavations we do that. And the extra step what we are doing here is we are taking x-axis and y-axis. Usually x-axis is taken from the western section and y is from the southern section. And depth we calculate, we take it as a z. And then data preparation. Data preparation, we prepare it in Excel so that we can use it for NMMA as well. So we take accession number, name, material, locus, x, y, z, weight, length. So when we are coming to weight and length, we have to maintain a uniform measurement. That is either grams, centimeter or meter. Whatever it is, it has to be maintained uniformly. And then breadth, thickness, diameter, shape, so on. And then uniform spelling also, because when we are inputting our entire Excel in this R program, we found lot of mistakes we did. That is for soapstone. You could write capital S and then small s, there might be a hyphen, and you might give a space after typing bead, you might give a space, and there are a lot of spelling changes because there are various persons working on one data. So it has to be maintained uniformly. And then third one is R program execution. It will read and filter your data and then extraction of output. So these are the 4 steps that is involved in our data collection: artifact discovery, measure x-axis, y-axis, and then depth, record the measured values. And the next is data preparation. Prepare the Excel template for the data, manually enter the obtained artifacts detail. This is where we go wrong. And then cleanse the entire data. So in this cleaning process, we do all these things. So when we are doing it systematically from the day one, it won't require much time. And then save the file to the desired folder. Then our program execution, import the obtained artifacts values from the Excel, read and filter the desired data, use x-axis, y-axis values for generating 2D graph, and use x-y-axis depth values for generating 3D graphs. So we can do both. In case if we don't have depth or in any other aspect of research, we can do this. And then plot the subset of artifact data as 2D, 3D graph using different R packages. And then output. Graphs will be generated in the specified folder and output graphs will be used for the report generation. And then one more thing that we can see in R is scatter plotting. So scatter plotting is aided by the computational capabilities of R, has proven resourceful in archaeological researches at Keeladi, reveals previously hidden patterns about the past. By deciphering these patterns, deeper understanding of the stratigraphic cultural activities that once thrived in these ancient urban settlements could be deciphered. So here we have took the case study of beads based on color, and the other one is based on shapes. So based on material also we have done. So this is based on material, agate and amethyst. You could see the concentration of agate and amethyst beads are less. And then in the upcoming, you can see the concentration of glass beads is more. So this we have done for 11,000 antiquities. Out of 11,000, 7,000 are beads, and out of 7,000, more than 6,000 are glass beads. This is for carnelian, chalcedony and bone beads. And you could clearly observe after the depth of 200 centimeters, the beads gets decreases. And after the depth of 300 centimeters, the beads are completely absent. And you can see, compare, the glass beads are higher in number and followed by faience beads. And the rest of the semi-precious are very less and little number. Using this, you can formulate lot of research questions which pave the way for many results, because there is a cultural transformation, because that is why we are not getting bead after 200 centimeters. Then quartz beads, shell beads. Soapstone, terracotta. So you can see up to the depth of 200 centimeters, it's highly concentrated and started decreasing slowly, and it is completely absent after 300. And based on shapes. So you can see barrel shaped beads are little less in number, comparing biconical is much lesser than that. Collared beads, discular shaped beads. And we could observe collar beads are absent below 150, only one we found, ignorant number. Rectangular shaped beads and spherical shaped beads. So we had found, most common shape we had found is circular shape, followed by spherical one. So it is a complete picture. And this is a map showing Keeladi and its cluster surrounding geomorphology of the study area. And this is again geology. So this using these we can plan for the excavation. We could understand geology and geomorphology of the locality. We can prepare 3D model of the urn in situ, pre and post exposition. This will help us in writing report. Patterns in the distribution of artifacts, in what pattern the artifacts are distributed, and the quantity of finds at specific locations, because we are excavating in different localities. So there might be some uniqueness to that particular locality we might get, and that could be studied using this. And concentration of particular artifact types, association between different artifacts, because after 200 centimeter, what are the artifacts we are getting and what is absent before that. So all these questions could be answered and different ideas could be derived from this. Thank you. I take this opportunity to thank Tamil Nadu State Archaeology Department Joint Director who gave this opportunity to present. Thank you, sir.
Really mind-boggling presentation. Congratulations for the nice work. It has given a lot of insights and ideas for the other field workers. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, maybe one or two, yeah.
This is only with reference to the beads you presented, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you done with the shreds?
Sorry, sir.
Shreds?
Potsherds.
Potsherds.
No, sir. Potsherd, we have a different chart that we are working on. Not exactly on this.
Okay. Then the measurements all were made by manually by you?
Beads measurements. Yes, sir. We have vernier calipers and we measure those beads. We have digital vernier caliper and we measure those beads.
No, field measurements were by
Field measurements you're asking about.
He's
Yes.
asking the depth.
depth,
Okay.
etc. That is
Depth.
depth, yeah.
Depth
That is
is important than measuring the beads.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
what he
okay,
asked.
Stratigraphy is the most important thing.
Exactly, sir.
No,
That is why we are.
yeah. So no, we would. I also
Yes, sir.
had the same thing. Whether it was total station measurements or some other.
It's not total station. We
Okay.
do have measurement units where we can do it.
It is 3D or any other measurement?
It is, we are taking x-axis, y-axis and z axis.
No, Z also is required, no?
Yes, depth we are taking, sir. Of course, we take for each and every activity that has been done
Yeah.
in the excavation. It is common to document also.
Yeah.
What kind of the art package you are using for your
And that will be clear.
Yes.
But what we notice is that the beads travel upwards
Okay, sir.
when it rains, right? So that happens over 1,000 years. So one thing I noticed is that the concentration of beads at higher level can also be a natural phenomenon. Possible. So that also needs to be accounted. So we also get
Exactly.
confused in terms of the.
Yeah, we have the same research problem answer such question. This has to be scientifically studied and we have studies going
That
on.
factor also we
Yes,
need
sir,
to
for this
account
question.
that factor.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, when you showed the observations and the results, based on material, then based on sizes. So when we take it as a result, like if I do a pie chart or any Excel, so will there be overlaps? Like red dark, it may be of the sizes of material overlap are the color.
Overlap. When you type red color bead, what is the shape? You give it right?
Yes, ma'am, but when it's on the material, it can be of the same material and different color.
We should know to identify what material it is. Either if it is red color glass bead, or it is a carnelian bead, or it is orange color bead, it's a glass or carnelian. You should know to identify what it is.
Okay, so the size and the material cannot be overlapped. It's a term.
It is not. You should know how to give input. You should know how to.
No, overlap in the sense the attributes we call. So material attribute is one thing, and size attribute is another thing. When you make the Excel sheet, that columns, you can have any number of columns.
So there will be separate.
Because you are combining two attributes. Size is one attribute, and then
there will be separate column. Shape, color,
shape,
material. So you will give orange, white conical, and orange
okay,
color.
you can have personal discussion with them later. Yeah. I think probably this is the last paper. I think. Yeah. So the presentation is by Mr. Nipun Cherian and his group. Actually, there are 4 more names. So he is going to present on metallurgy as the propelling technology for the Indo-Roman spice trade, 300 BCE to 300 CE.
Thank you for this opportunity. I am Nipun Cherian from Palma Research Institute. I have my colleague Thiru. We are a group. There is a change in the title of the paper, please note. That's because the title in the brochure would be a hypothesis that we don't want to get into at this stage and stick to certain facts from the field. So the paper is on the early historic transoceanic metal trade in the metallurgical context that has come to our notice from the recent excavations, trench number 67 at Pattanam. The location of Pattanam is on the west coast of Kerala. It is around 25 kilometers north of the present Kochi harbour and around 5 kilometers south of the major opening of the river Periyar into the western Arabian Sea. The Pattanam site is around 3 kilometers inland now. There is a sandbar island to the west of the archaeological mound of Pattanam. A few hundred meters south of Pattanam archaeological mound is a branch of the Periyar river. Pattanam is very clearly in the delta region of Periyar river. This is the location of Pattanam with respect to the transoceanic trade links. Yeah. So predominantly so far the excavations had started in 2007 and the inferences and understanding of the trade connections has been from studies of ceramics and beads. That has been the work, predominant work.
Mr. Cherianji, please kindly go into the findings.
Yes.
Because this introduction, etc., is already known.
All right. So the trench 67 is in the Palma premises in 2022. So basically 4 distinct features have been found at the trench, which includes what we call as a sand pit, a ring well. This is the ring well feature. There's another ring well feature which is found at another part of the trench, and there is a big brick structure platform also in the trench. Now this is very similar to some of the trenches of Keeladi, which is a contemporary site. The only difference being we have a very wet and tropical climatic condition in Pattanam. So the focus of the paper is the metallurgical context that emerged in trench number 67 with high content of charcoal-rich soil as well as charcoal fragments and burning context in burnt bricks and crucible-like material being found at various levels of the trench, indicating a continuous metallurgical activity over various periods, even indicating furnace-like context. So this context that emerged in trench 67 took us to the further findings. So these are some of the findings from trench 67 which indicate the metallurgical context in terms of the crucible or burnt bricks, fragments, etc. Now, one interesting find is this iron pipe, which could be possibly a blowpipe, similar to the blowpipe used, for example, used by goldsmiths. So this is a very interesting find which needs further study. So these are the various iron objects, knife, nails, hooks, and then copper objects. In fact, we have copper chunks that weigh 23 grams. We have copper chunks that weigh 50 grams. So these are pieces of copper that has been found in the burning context. Now, interestingly, along with copper, at many spots we also find pieces of lead. Not just lead scrolls, but also fragments of lead. This also tend to indicate that probably there was lead was being, so the metallurgical context is where lead was being mixed with copper or bronze to create a leaded bronze or leaded copper, which is a highly malleable form of copper alloy, which even today is the method of making metal mirrors, for example, if you look at Archaeological mirrors also to give a comparison. So this was a period where, if you talk about mirrors, there are references to mirrors in the Sangam literature as well, and all the mirrors from this early historic period are metal mirrors because glass mirrors did not exist. Now, beads, again, one particular type of bead that I would like your focus into is the gold foil bead. Now, gold foil bead is basically a gold sandwiched bead where there is a gold glass core, and around the glass core there is a coating of gold, and on top of the gold coating there is a coating of transparent glass. So this is a sophisticated manufacturing technique for that period. So we find samples of glass gold foil beads from this trench as well, and this has been found earlier in the earlier trenches as well. Also, there has been, in the initial XRF analysis, there has been traces of lanthanum noted in some of the foil beads. We don't know whether it was intentionally introduced into the bead or whether it is the lanthanum content in the glass of the bead. That needs to be studied further. So from the findings, the metallurgical context of the site, two things emerge. One, from the fact that there are no copper ores in peninsular India during that period or even later period, the significant amount of copper and lead found at Pattanam or Muziris is probably imported. Now, the sources of import could be either Oman or Rajasthan. So what we are in, the process that we are into is to figure out from where did this copper come. So we have very detailed elemental analysis and detailed research papers with the data of copper from the Al Hajar mountain ranges of Oman. Oman has been renowned during this period for export of ingots of copper as well. So some of the samples that we have from Trench 67 are like 50 gram, 43 gram copper chunks. So we need to study these samples. We need to do elemental analysis to understand what is, whether it is from Rajasthan or Oman or if any other source. So we are looking at a scenario where copper and lead was imported to Pattanam, and iron, for which there are sources in hinterland, iron was exported from Pattanam. So we are the focus of study is the trade of metals and subsequently how this impacted the transition from probably transition from a barter economy to a money economy, and the role of spice trade as well. Predominantly, to so far, South India and the trade from the western coast has been focused on the aspects of spice trade, the historical studies. But what has been missed probably is the level of technology that was worked upon at these centers and the significance of the metal trade coupled with the spice trade. So this is our work in progress aspect. My colleague Uttara will take you through the literary sources and other findings from other archaeological findings that indicate or support this hypothesis that we are building on the metal trade, and the need for further studies, especially to do elemental analysis of the metal finds from the trench, from the metallurgical context, and to compare it with the various metal ores in Oman, in Rajasthan, etc., and also other sites if possible. Uttara will continue from here. Thank you.
So quickly, I'll go through the literature sources. Before that, let me show you the ceramic assemblage. So, as you know, Pattanam has got the large number of ceramic sherds. Okay, so we have sherds of coarse red ware, Indian roulated ware, torpedo jar, South Arabian ovoid, turquoise, glazed pottery sherds, amphorae, terra siglata, and other unidentified sherds were found. And from this particular trench, we have found one particular sherd, and this was not recorded before from any of the trenches from Pattanam. And while looking at the literary text on the trade of metals to Muziris, Naturalis Historia, written by Pliny the Elder in 77 CE, there is a passage about the iron metal trade from Ceres, which probably point towards the ancient southern kingdom of Cheras. And the author of the Periplus of Erythraean Sea states that the ships from Egypt to India carried raw materials such as lead, tin, and copper. So also PME mentions the Persian coast, that is the Apologos and the Omana, as the region from where the traders of Roman Egypt collected copper. So it is to be noted that copper does not appear in the list of exports from various ports in India, and evidence solidifies Oman's role as a major copper provider since Bronze Age. So there is a description in the literature: let the land of Magan bring for you hard and resistant copper, diorite stones. And Pliny's opus also highlights that India lacked copper as well as lead. Again, that is a very confusing statement, like India lacked copper because we have copper in Rajasthan. And Ptolemy reports the presence of copper mines beyond Ganges in distant India. And also, PME mentions that the port of Barigasa received shipments of copper from the west. And in Sangam literature also, we have enormous reference to metalworking. So I have taken only two. One is the 37th poem of Purananuru. You have the skill to ruin this ancient great city with copper walls, where many vicious crocodiles gather in the darkness of the huge. And another one is from Manimekhalai. Streets filled with potters, coppersmiths, bronzesmiths, goldsmiths and metal workers, carpenters of wood, masons with building expertise. And as far as the metal lead is concerned, Periplus clearly states that the sole market for the western lead was India, and it was delivered to the port of Muziris. And since ancient times, tin was a commodity in great demand among the societies. So a mixture of tin alloyed with copper produces bronze. And Periplus notes that western tin finds a market in two places in India, among which one is the port of Muziris and the other one is Barigasa. And according to Periplus, Indian exports and imports varied from port to port based on the geographical positioning, depending on local demands and on the hinterland on which the port served. So this is a table based on the literature. And now the preliminary inferences and the future work. The metallurgical activity or metallurgical studies of Pattanam is still in its infancy. So we are actually trying to find more analysis and look into the metallurgical context. The highest concentration of crucible fragments were recorded from 4 trenches in Pattanam, 61, 51, 52 and 42, and at least 1/3 of the iron slag recorded from the site came from these 4 trenches. And therefore, in reference with the, I'll show you the trench locations. So these are the trenches. The green ones are by Pama and the remaining ones are from Ketsichar. So therefore in reference with the possible ironworking evidences recorded from our trench, that is trench number 67, and the spatial relation to the two locations within other two trenches from where we got a furnace context in the previous excavations, it is indicative of a network of metallurgical activities in the southeastern part of the site or in the plot, in the area, the wharf area. And evidences of metallurgical activities clearly indicate iron working at Pattanam. The amount of slag, again, we are not quite sure whether it is smithing slag or smelting slag, discovered in the site signify activities of iron working, shaping and forging for the production of various iron objects. The nature of production, that is like to look into whether it's primary or secondary or both, and the scale of production is to be looked into. So this is the area where we got large number of metal artifacts. So metal export could have been favored by the extensive exchanges inter and intra, which connected Port of Muziris with other parts of ancient Tamil Nadu. Iron ore deposits are found in the Manyali region, which is a close vicinity of Pattanam. So studies are to be carried out to understand the exploitation of these deposits in antiquity. And copper might, as Nipun said, copper might have come from the Omana coast through the port of Sumpram, Gorori, and the presence of roulated ware and Tamil Brahmi inscription found probably reached the port of Sumpram through Muziris, which highlights the contacts between these two ports during early historic period. And new information could hopefully come from the study of metal provenance through the integration of chemical, textual and isotopic data, and we are waiting for our results to come to publish the data. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. A lot of new information. Yeah, sorry. Maybe we can have one or two questions on the presentation made by Mr. Chen.
So when Satyamurthy has done excavations at Adichanulu, so he concentrated on the iron burial site only. But when Alexander Ray recovered large number of copper utensils in his excavations, such a kind we don't have still in the lateral excavations. After that, the Geological Survey of India, geologists from NIOT, National Institute of Ocean and Technology in Madras, along with the ISA people, and I also accompanied with them, and we found open mines. There we have a little bit of copper core and gold and iron also. Still the open mines are there. They used later on as a burial site, the actual people. So they said that they got it everything, the copper got it everything from the open mines itself, and they made it all the coppers like that. Then they said the people knowing the heart of the metallurgy, the cultural people. So the paper also they published. So you might have seen that also, or you will see that. So even the name of the Tamarapani, river Tamarapani, is derived from the Tamira, that is copper.
Copper.
Yeah.
So interestingly, the Oman copper that I referred, what they have done there is detailed elemental analysis studies of both the ores and the copper objects. So I have not come across any such papers from India, and that is one study that we have not probably done yet. That those kind of studies needs to be done here to understand the source of, for example, the Chera or Chola coins. Of course, it's a sophisticated process. We can do the various types of elemental analysis and compare it with the element analysis of the ores, and also try to understand the processes through which it would have transferred into the final object. So those metallurgical studies will give us clarity on the source of the alloy or the copper in the final object. That is, this has been done for copper objects of Mesopotamia, and they have traced it to Oman.
Thank you very much. I think with this we will conclude the session.
Thank you, sir. We request our Joint Director to give away the mementos to the speakers of the session. First to Dr. K.P. Rao, sir. Next to Dr. Rammoorthy. He will be receiving Dr. Priyanka Rao's memento also. Next to Dr. Uttara. Dr. Nipun. Next to Thiru Ramesh. Selvi Kaviya. I request Dr. K.P. Rao sir to come to the stage to honor our Joint Director sir for Keeladi presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Honorable present here. Tomorrow we will be joining by 9:30 sharp. 9:30 a.m. we'll start the sessions. Thank you.